You're listening to The Pete Sheppard Show.
It's good to be back.
Hauser passes up the three. Now he'll take it. Bullseye! History for Hauser. 7 threes in the third.
Give me one more.
Have a Tommy Award all season.
Hey, man, he's earning it right now. How about this on the step back? Come on, can I get one more?
Oh, Nelly, that's about all the NBA news we're going to have time for today. It's my Celtics sleepwalk through a game last night, up 24 points against a pathetic Utah team, and kind of cakewalk that slept walk through the end. Hauser starting for Tatum. Porzingis has got some sort of viral infection that's a little scary. Celtics win, another win, 5 in a row. They're 12-2 in their last 14. They continue to roll. Lakers suck. They lose in Brooklyn, and we got a shitload of NFL free agency to talk about. Good morning, everybody. Welcome to another edition of the Pete Sheppard Show here on the Coastal Sports Network. Thanks for checking us out on the video platform on Twitter X, following me at pshep326. Also on our Facebook pages on mine and on CSN, Coastal Sports Network Facebook page. Oh, excuse me. CSN Florida, Rumble, LinkedIn, YouTube. Call or text the show 727-858-6650. And also the awesome app right there. You see it. SR1029 the game, SR1029thegame.com. How is everybody doing? I am feeling quite happy today. And, you know, it's not like me, Angel Martinez. I want to bring you on board right away. First of all, before we get into it, let me just say down here in Southwest Florida, here I am, got my my virtual scene back. As you can see, the sun comes up early in my house, so it's great here in Fort Myers. But we finally got that straightened out. Just a little glitch, but we got it straightened out. I do want to ask everybody who was in Florida, I mean from Orlando down here, and we got a lot of wind in the Fort Myers area yesterday. We had a sprinkle here and there. I really thought it looked like tornado weather yesterday here. It got windy. The humidity was up and then went down, but the skies were ominous all day down here. Dark clouds and all that stuff. Then I saw this, but we didn't get any severe weather except for wind gusts, like 35, 40 miles an hour. But I know north of where I am and into Orlando, they got at least one tornado that I saw that was real bad. But Angel Martinez in Tampa, how are you doing? And did you experience some severe weather yesterday as well?
We had the wicked witch of the West land on the house yesterday. Apparently it blew in from Kansas over this way. But no, we had strong storms for sure. Usually kind of like the summer version of the stuff that we end up getting around here. But it was definitely lots of strong winds, a good amount of rain, which was much, much needed. But other than that, thankfully, nothing really severe or damaging as the way it was in Orlando, which apparently when they were live on TV and saying to folks, hey, seek shelter, apparently the stadium or the studio itself, not
it was
the stadium.
Fox 35 I saw this morning from Orlando, and I saw that report you're talking about. Scary stuff.
Yeah. I thought the only thing that was kind of, I don't want to say amusing, but you have the weatherman, the meteorologist, telling everyone to seek shelter. It's coming if you're in the immediate area and stuff like that. And then he's telling all the anchors to get under the desk. In the meantime, the cameraman's still focusing upon him. He's still doing the weather radar stuff. And I'm like,
dude, Pulitzer Prize winning stuff. Yes, Eric. I'm going to get cameraman of the year. I might die, but man, boy, that ceremony is going to be great when they honor me and put up a statue of me as I'm getting crushed by a building. That's my last thing. I mean, being facetious, obviously, I don't know, but I agree with you. It happens all the time.
Yeah.
Dingbat over at Weather Channel, he's out there and, it's a snow lightning. Yeah.
I've seen that one when he goes ballistic.
Oh yeah, the snow, and then they gotta climb. I love it when the weathermen climb the piles of snow, and they have the measuring stick. People on it's just we know it's snowing. It's bad. Parking lots get filled with it. Anyway, we digress. We pillaged the Philadelphia Eagles. We, meaning my New England Patriots. And wow, what an absolute! I think it's actually been it's been. They do like a top 5 best signings of the day yesterday with free agency opening with day one, and Mitt Williams is right at the top of everybody's list. To get that guy from your Philadelphia Eagles. Now, you guys have done a great job. You've re-signed basically everybody. But this guy, you could have made a case to be Super Bowl MVP. You could have made, this is a 3-down guy. I cannot specify. I hope everybody realizes how awesome Mitt Williams is. He's a 3-down guy. He can stop the run. It's going to be very difficult to run against the Patriots next year. But the guy can also pass rush. You don't get those type of people very often. You don't see those kind of two-way defensive linemen anymore. He is one of them, and that is a great get by the Patriots. They've done a really good job on the defensive side of the ball. It's doled out about $244 million plus to Milton Williams, Harold Landry, Robert Spillane, Carlton Davis. I mean, just a great job for Vrabel. Now just going to get hopefully a couple of more offensive weapons. They did get Hollins, who, if you remember last year, made that great catch in the AFC Championship game for the Buffalo Bills. Great throw and a great catch by Josh Allen in the second half of that one. He's not the stud wide receiver everybody's looking for, but the guy is a pro's pro. He's like a 4th or 5th wide receiver. He's also very good on special teams. Is he that big splash offensively that I'm waiting for the Patriots to get? No, but it's a start. And what they did yesterday, beefing up the defensive line, is just outstanding. So I'm quite happy. And this is what, Angel, I was talking about yesterday. I cannot tell you, my friends up north at Sports Hub, Felger and Maz, and I like them both. I like them both very much. Work with them over the years and everything else. They have a very successful show on 98.5, the Sports Hub. Hugely successful, 20 shares and everything else. I don't know if the company they work for really gives a shit about it, but nevertheless, they've been one of the top sports radio stations in the country. Sometimes, though. And this is what I do not do. And this is what I warn against. And this is because of 38 years of experience. And maybe 25 years ago, 30 years ago, I might have done the same thing. But for now, what did I say yesterday? As day one of free agency is developing, if you're doing this for a living, do not go over the top, ball to the wall, stupid, because your team, no matter if it's New England or Philadelphia or Dallas, because they have not gotten involved in the free agency bidding wars right out of the gate.
Yep.
And those two yesterday, if Beth Felger went off on this ridiculous rant, and then all of a sudden breaking news, and it's the Patriots announcement, Williams, in which he says, "Okay, I guess I got to eat some words now." You don't go off on day one of free agency. That's 2-dimensional thinking. You got to have 3-dimensional thinking and not just look outside just hang on. Don't panic. You want to, in 3 or 4 days from now, if you don't think this team or that team did what they're supposed to do, then you have every right to go off. But these people on these sports talk shows they go crazy. They go crazy, go nuts, as Fernando Lamas once said. And you make fools out of yourselves. And with all the breaking news that happened yet, I mean, you couldn't keep up. And anybody in any state, in any major market, and you start going off on your team, this team or that team, because they didn't sign this person or that person right away, and all of a sudden you go on this diatribe with a bunch of ridiculous words, words like arrogance, I should say, arrogance. That's my word, but aggregate and stuff like. I'm listening to this shit. I saw a couple of blurbs. You're a blurb, Felger, sometimes. And it's just like, what are you doing? What are you trying to be? It's free agency started a few hours ago. What the hell do you want? God Almighty, it's so unbelievable. So that's why I welcome all of you people here, because I don't do that. Angel will I said yesterday, before all this bullshit happened up in Boston and other places around the country, I heard the same thing. You don't go crazy in the first couple of hours if you're a talk show host in free agency because you didn't get this guy or that guy or they stole this. Just give it a few hours. Give it a few hours. And you see what the Patriots ended up with yesterday. Very good job on defense. And you can make a case getting Milton Williams from the Philadelphia Eagles might be the best signing yet for anybody. And there's a lot to go over. So just a little thing to get off my chest early this morning. because I feel for you guys up in New England, some of you, and it's just the anticipation of doom is something that I do not subscribe to. I just don't. I have to wait and see. So you have to wait and see, like when the Bruins blew a 3-0 lead to Toronto 2 weeks ago and lost. See, that's when I subscribed to doom. That's when I knew it was going to be lights out for the Bruins. But it took a while. It took a while. You don't just, it's so easy every day of the week to say, you suck, he sucks, they suck, everybody sucks. We didn't do this, we didn't do that. And all of a sudden, Adam Schefter was reporting this, he had Rappaport's reporting that, this, that, and the other thing. And all of a sudden, you have to sit there with your pile of crow, with sriracha sauce and eat it and have a frowny face because you got had, because you're too arrogant and ignorant to realize that not everything happens in the first hour of day one of free agency. God almighty. Jesus. And there's one thing of being constructive criticism and critical of teams, and I get all that. But to go reaching for it all the time, when there isn't shit there, is ridiculous. And it goes on up there all the time. And it goes on in Philly sometimes. It goes on in Los Angeles. I don't know what those people do. I really don't. I don't. Everything's just all hunky dory. Your Lakers sucked last night. No LeBron. You lost to one of the worst teams in the league. Luka, even though with a triple double, arguing with the refs again, still not playing great defense. You watch the Lakers go. Watch what happens over the next couple of weeks. These last 18 games. Don't be surprised if the Lakers are playing back in the play-in tournament again to try to get in. Do not be surprised. Anyway. We could do the whole show today on the NFL. A lot of it, great guests coming up. Jay Flannelly at 8:30. Bill Burt, who covers the Patriots from the Eagle Tribune. We will get to him as well. At 9:30, breaking down all of these moves. There's some baseball news to get into, but just some of the highlights so far from you. I mean, Sam Darnold gets $100.5 million from the Seahawks, which is amazing. Justin Fields signs with the Jets. More on that. As we said, Milton Williams signing with the Patriots, which I think is the best signing of anybody so far in free agency. Josh Sweat leaves the Eagles for the Cardinals. All right. And, the Rams planning to release Cooper Kupp if they can't trade him. And there is so much. Where is Aaron Rodgers going to go? Is it going to be Pittsburgh or is it going to be the Giants? And the same can be said for Russell Wilson. The Steelers, I don't know what they're doing. They make these moves, bring in receivers, and now they still don't have a quarterback. Where will Aaron Rodgers end up? I kind of hope it's Pittsburgh because he can destroy that franchise too. He and Devontae, who didn't do a whole hell of a lot last year together when they played together, go and destroy Mike Tomlin's perfect record as far as never having a losing season. You can mark that down for me if that happens. So I'd like to see Aaron Rodgers in the AFC. And Russell Wilson, we'll see what happens. Justin Fields going to the Jets I don't know what. I think a lot of people don't understand, or not that they don't understand. We don't know what is Justin Fields. How good is he? Flashes here, flashes in Pitt, flashes in Chicago. What's it going to be with the Jets? Aaron Glenn, I think is a very, but it doesn't matter. It's the Jets. You are doomed. Doomed, I say, doomed. Anyway, Angel, there's a lot going on. There's a lot to discuss today. Just anything jump out at you yesterday? The Sam Darnold, $100.5 million to the Seahawks. Jets, a $40 million deal with Justin Fields. By the way, can we punch up? I want you to see this. All right, and I know it's March, okay? Right under the show, Angel, Dove Kleiman, and you're going to have to freeze it because it's only like a 3-second video. Here is Miami quarterback Tua Tagovailoa. It's gone viral now on a partying on a yacht. And check out the gut on him here. I mean, wow. Check this out. Here's your Miami Dolphins quarterback. You could play it, Angel, for a second, but it's.
Pretend I don't live in.
Look at that.
I didn't even think it was actually Tua. When I saw it coming across, I'm like, yeah, it can't be Tua. But
It is Tua.
I guess it is him. But yeah, it makes you wonder from a guy who's been concussed and all, you would think you would probably want to stay a little bit healthier. But I guess, he sees it.
It's the offseason. It's still, we're going to remember this in a couple of months when they have OTAs. Let's see if that's a bear gut too. That's a bear gut. And I know because I used to have one. And that's not drink. That's a bear gut. It's just good luck for your potential last place Miami Dolphins. They'll fight it out with the Jets.
Well, I have
for
Mike
that.
McDaniels, so everything will be okay.
No, it won't. We haven't heard from Mike in a while. I'm looking forward to that as well. 727-858-6650, whatever your favorite team is and what they did. This is, let me know how you feel. It's only day one of free agency, but you talk about Fast and Furious, and I'm not talking about the movies. By the way, I've only seen one of them. That was something yesterday. You could not get away from social media if you're in this business like we are. And it was like boom, boom, boom. And things were just happening it was crazy.
I thought with the Eagles, with Milton, it was one of those things either they were going to keep him or obviously let him go to free agency, which they did. And how he's done such a great job that before you used to question, now it's like, all right, what's he have up his sleeve? For the Patriots, it's definitely a very good steal for them because, he was highly desired around. But the Patriots made some big moves. Panthers, I think they had one splash for the Panthers. Patriots right now are kind of leading the way. And I don't even think the Cowboys have a chance at this point, the way the Patriots are all in and they want to make up for what they did last year. The only thing with me, why would Pittsburgh even want Aaron Rodgers? He's not going to do anything. And then
they got no choice. It's or re-sign Russell Wilson. I don't know what they're doing.
But you figured
that's it. That's it. There's nobody who's left at quarterback that they can go after.
Nobody.
There's nobody there.
No.
Except for Aaron Rodgers or Russell Wilson.
Right. So you would think when you got rid of Justin Fields, it was because you were going to sign Russell Wilson. And then all of a sudden the story changes to, we'll bring in Aaron Rodgers. The same way with the Eagles getting rid of Kenny Pickett because Cleveland apparently won them. So they do an exchange with Dorian Thompson for the Eagles as a backup quarterback because they figured their third stringer would be just fine. So, good move, I guess, for the Eagles. And Kenny apparently had a good relationship with the Browns. And hey, listen, if he's going to be able to be a starter over there with the Browns, great for Kenny. But some of these moves, still the whole thing with Cooper Kupp, I guess, that's going to be either let go. And
you have a good point with the Browns. And, I don't get, Myles Garrett, you want to stay there with that loser organization, go ahead. Feel free. And this is a guy that saw the cuts all day yesterday and today. How badly he wanted out of Cleveland.
Right.
And I get it. But I think he would have kind of got that money at other places. But man, you want to stay there? Talk about a team with no quarterback. Who's it going to be? Jameis Winston. It should be Cam Ward next year. He should be your starter immediately if you're smart enough to draft him. And then I think you're going to have your franchise quarterback for quite some time. But I don't know. It's the Browns organization. It's not the Jets, but man, it looks pretty damn close. With the Steelers, I don't know what they're doing. I don't. It's DK Metcalf is there now, and it's going to come down to Aaron Rodgers or Russell Wilson. And I'm just thinking about Aaron Rodgers with Mike Tomlin, and I'm not seeing it.
Either.
I'm not seeing it. just not seeing it.
Because you got to figure Mike is a no nonsense type of guy, and we've known this for many years. So, and then you already know that Aaron Rodgers is going to go back to South America for his whatever it is. Seance.
I don't think that'll happen because that won't be allowed. And if it's even though the Jets said last year, I believe that he got fined for that, but he's not going to Egypt or Africa on any trip. Egypt is Africa, but you're not going on any trip. Under Mike Tomlin, but he nevertheless, the point is a good one you made is because he brings along distractions, and Will the Steelers, if he does end up with Pittsburgh, is he allowed to go on McAfee's show next year? I hope for our sake that he is, because it's fun to make fun of him every week when he does it. So we'll see. Justin Fields, one thing the Jets have inherited with Justin Fields is a whole no distractions. I think Justin Fields will be a team player. I don't think there's going to be any of that bullshit, any of that nonsense. They had to deal with every single day of practice, after the game, off season, where Justin Fields is going to be, zone of darkness, Pat McAfee. I think for at least that, it should be a relief for the Jets that they don't have to deal with that distraction anymore. I think that's huge. Now, whether he can play, and especially in that environment, there's going to be a whole lot of pressure on him, and it'll be interesting to see. I like Justin Fields, but I hate the Jets more. So, I hope he makes it through the season, and maybe he ends up being the franchise quarterback that they have so desperately needed over the last, 40 years.
Exactly.
That guy.
There's not much in the college ranks as far as quarterbacks, and not this year, but the following year, there's even less. So if you're going to look for someone, I guess if Justin Fields shows up and shows out, that'd be a good thing for the Jets, because then, you're locked in at least for, the next 4 years until the next eligible group of quarterbacks come through. So it'll be good for them. And then you have Zach Wilson, who went out to Miami, which will probably end up being a starter for Miami over friggin' Tua. At this point, not there.
Tua would have to really suck, and he'd have to balloon even more than he already is on that yacht that we just showed you. But, we'll see. And the thing with Tua, it doesn't matter. He can be in the best shape of his life. One little hit or a feather hits him the wrong way, bye-bye. Out to concussion protocol we go. I don't want to see that happen to him. I don't any more than want to see Garrett Cole, which we'll get to. Garrett Cole's out for the year for the Yankees with that has Tommy John surgery. I don't like seeing any big time player out, because if I'm a Red Sox fan, which I am, I like beating teams at their best. I don't want to see teams that are not at full strength, because I don't like to hear the excuses that people make up. But anyway, if we could, Angel, can we scroll down? Since we're on the topic of Russell Wilson, Aaron Rodgers in Pittsburgh. It's right under the Tua thing. Darren Orlovsky yesterday on NFL on ESPN, they broached this very subject.
This is easy for me. If I'm the Steelers, Aaron Rodgers is going to be my starting quarterback. And if I'm Aaron Rodgers, I want to go play for Pittsburgh. 4:45 in the afternoon, I'm a little bit surprised it's gone this long. If there has to be this sense of urgency from Pittsburgh. You just traded for DK Metcalf. You have now two premier players at that position physically, and my number one goal would be, here's the thing, this is all due respect. You're not chasing down those teams in the AFC with the offense that you had last year. So the way to elevate is to get Aaron Rodgers. I want a guy that can throw it up and down the football field. He can't move the way he did, and you got to protect him. This would be a very easy decision for me. This is easy for me. If I'm the Steelers, Aaron Rodgers.
It's easy, but it's not easy, because you don't know what you're inheriting with all the distractions. And look, he still had some decent receivers last year. He's still, throwing the ball up and down the field. I'm not seeing it. I see him getting thrown down onto the field. That's what I see. But go ahead, Pittsburgh. Ruin Mike Tomlin's record for never having a losing season, because go ahead, sign that guy. You'll see. Right under that, Angel, if we could, on Pat McAfee. This is when they were live when the Patriots announced that they had got Milt Williams. And this is how it went down yesterday on the McAfee show, which was after 12 o'clock. I can't remember what time exactly this was, but very good stuff.
Connor, you got to be thrilled, because whenever we saw his name linked with Carolina, I think you were a little bummed out.
Yeah.
You're a little bummed out about this. But now you get a dog that's going to fit into the new culture, and he's a winner and a durable player. Boston, Connor, New England Patriots fans, have a day today, pal.
Yeah, incredible. And it's all defense. When you're looking at what the Patriots have done over these last 2 days, Harold Landry, pass rusher, need to be able to get there. Of course, they brought in Morgan Moses, also need to protect Drake May. But Carlton Davis, Spillane, now you add Milton Williams. The cultures that in the players that they're getting these places from, are top tier. You want guys who are winners. You want guys who play a lot of games. I remember Morgan Moses, that was one of his biggest things last year, was that the guy damn near doesn't miss any snaps when it comes to playing football. And so for the New England Patriots and Mike Vrabel and kind of the new era, bringing in these guys is massive. And then you just think about, who do you need to stop when you're, watch.
That was Kamara right there.
Yeah,
that wasn't just
4.6. Ran a 4.6 at the combine.
4.6, and he's huge. And huge. I was just about to say, he's tackling Kamara. When you think about the AFC East, you got to tackle Josh Allen. Josh Allen's who's everyone's kind of looking up to right now. So, Bob Spillane, we've seen it. I don't know if we've ran it yet. Mike Vrabel wanted Bob Spillane because he went 200 miles an hour through the A-gap to tackle Derrick Henry on the goal line. And that is kind of the type of guy that you want on your football team. I am thrilled about today. No wide receivers have been taken. I think that kind of says a lot about who they think they still have. The rookies last year that didn't get, much burn with Gerard Mayo, both Jalen Polk and Javon Baker. Javon Baker, who said famously, he makes people in wheelchairs stand up when he's playing football. So I think they do still have a lot of hope in those guys going into their second year, but the defense is all the way back.
Still got money too.
Still got
Patriots still have money. They started out the day with $122 million. So whenever they weren't the first name being announced for all these signings, there was a little bit of a wonder about what's happening. Now they get Milton Williams, who has agreed to deals or finalized on a contract with the Panthers, going to the Patriots.
Yeah, so really good stuff. Yeah, and Baker making that statement from ECF, by the way, and I hope he's right. But no, they still have some work to do. Pop Douglas, Booty, Kendrick Bourne. Look, they absolutely got better on defense. Those are some really, really good players, and Milt Williams is a great player.
Yep.
Again, I can't stress enough, a guy who can be a 3-down defensive lineman. And he can rush the passer and block equally well, block the run equally well. I mean, it's a fantastic move by the Patriots, and the other players that they got as well, as they just mentioned, most of them yesterday, with not only Mitt Williams, Harold Landry, Robert Spillane, Carlton Davis, a good day one. Or, the last 48 hours for the Patriots. The one guy I really, really wanted was also on offense was Chris Godwin. Apparently, the Patriots, Angel, offered him $20 million more than what the Bucs offered him. So he signed, I believe, was a 3-year, $66 million deal yesterday to remain on with the Buccaneers. And I know he's happy there. It's so occasionally, it isn't all about the money. 99% of the time it is. But for Godwin to stay with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, and the Patriots reportedly offered him about $20 million more in that contract, and he decided he wanted to stay a Buccaneer, which is fine. I get it. So really, really interesting stuff. All right, we're just scratching the surface here. So Jay Flanley coming up at 8:30, Bill Burt from the Eagle Tribune at 9:30, and we're gonna get into surprises or what free agency signing or lack thereof has surprised you more? And where do you think Aaron Rodgers is going to end up, Pittsburgh or the Giants? It's got to be one of those two. Russell Wilson, the same thing. You got to figure where one goes one place, the other is going to go to the other place. I think that's what's going to happen. But we shall see. Sam Darnold instead of Geno Smith. Is that a lateral move? Seems like it to me, but whatever. Geno Smith going to the Raiders. We'll find out. It's been an unbelievable offseason so far. It really has. I mean, we just finished the Super Bowl just about a month ago.
Yep.
Just about a month ago. Think about that. And look what has happened in the NFL since. It's been crazy, go nuts. All right, here's the Pete Sheppard Show here. Quick break. I'm coming back with more NFL news and some spring training news as well. Tell you what's going on with the Yankees. And we'll tell you what some numbnut said reportedly over at JetBlue yesterday about Jim Race. Wait till you hear this. That's coming up next here on the Pete Sheppard Show on the Coastal Sports Network.
Hi, folks. This is Gerard Moynihan of Moynihan Lumber, and I would like you to know that our company has been selling Anderson windows for over 60 years. See the complete line of Anderson windows at any of our 3 locations in North Reading, Beverly, or in Plastown, New Hampshire, or at MoynihanLumber.com.
Hey, everybody, it's Pete Sheppard from the Coastal Sports Network. Want to tell you about my good friend Lou DiMuzio and his company. Lou is the president and founder of Ace Technology Advisors. They're big-time tech specialists. At ATA, they're able to craft, implement, and manage the best and most appropriate solution for your business. They leverage their industry-leading experience and their portfolio of technology partners to improve your best practices and infrastructure. So you can get a hold of them at 888-599-4223. That's 888-599-4223. Check them out on their webpage, www.acetechadvisors.com. That's www.acetechadvisors.com. Or you can email them sales@acetechadvisors.com. Check out my friend Lou DiMuzio and Ace Technology Advisors.
Adopt US Kids presents What to Expect When You're Expecting. A teenager. Learning the lingo.
Today I'm going to help parents translate teen slang. Now, when a teen says something is on fleek, it's exactly like saying, that's rad. It simply means that something is awesome or cool. Another one is totes. It's exactly like saying totally, just shorter. As in, I totes love going to the mall with Becca. Another word you might hear is jelly. Jelly is a shorter, better way to say jealous. As in, Chloe, I am like so jelly of your unicorn phone case.
You don't have to speak teen to be a perfect parent. Thousands of teens in foster care will think you're, rad, just the same. To learn more, visit adoptuskids.org. A public service announcement brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, Adopt U.S. Kids, and the Ad Council.
This is the story of a very special woman. In a matter of seconds, she turned herself into a great mathematician or an entrepreneur. Her knowledge was limitless and still is. She could also make monsters disappear, especially those that lurked in the shadows under the bed. Once, this woman put back together a teenage girl's broken heart, which had been shattered in 1,000 pieces, just by giving her a bear hug. She masqueraded as a regular person at work, but as a superhero at home. Everyone knows her as Gabriella. I still call her Mom.
Your hero needs you now, and AARP is here to help. Find the care guides you need to help, complete with tips and resources at aarp.org/caregiving. A public service announcement brought to you by AARP and the Ad Council.
Hey, Dad, your prescription will be ready in just a minute. Hey, Dad, your laundry will be ready in just a minute. Dad, your lunch will be ready in just a minute.
Hey, honey. Why don't you take a minute?
When you help care for a loved one, you give them as much time as you can, making sure they're safe and comfortable. But it's just as important that you take some time for yourself. At AARP, we can help with information and useful tips on how you can maintain a healthy life balance, care for your own physical and mental well-being, and manage the challenges of caring for a loved one. Because the better care you take of yourself, the better care you can provide for your loved one.
Thanks, Dad.
Thank you.
You're there for them. We're here for you. Find free care guides to support you and your loved one at aarp.org/caregiving. That's aarp.org/caregiving. A public service announcement brought to you by AARP and the Ad Council.
All right, class. Let's hear what everyone did this weekend. Jill?
Well, I raised my older sister to a big oak tree. It was at least 100 years old. My mom said I must have set a record or something. And then we went down by a stream and perched up on this huge rock and saw all these little minnows swimming around way below us. And then I rescued my little brother from an evil slug king who was guarding him at the bush fortress. And my sister and I brought him back to our super twig fort for safety. And then we all laid out and told stories until it got dark. And the Big Dipper led us all the way home.
Wow. Awesome. Where were you, Jill?
Yeah. We went to the forest. It's not that far away. Anyone want to come this weekend?
Ask your parents to take you and your friends to the forest this week and find the fun, adventurous you. It's closer than you think. Check out discovertheforest.org. Brought to you by the U.S. Forest Service and the Ad Council.
Don't spaz out because your team lost. Let Pete do it for you. Now, back to the Pete Sheppard Show.
The dude can still flat out ball. And so this was a move I think the Rams had been thinking about. They needed someone else that they can bring in. And for Matthew Stafford, someone that resembles maybe what Calvin Johnson was to him in Detroit. This is that person. This is Davante Adams, one of the most experienced route runners who knows coverage, who sees this. This was really, I think, Sean McVay and Matthew Stafford seeking a guy who can come in, and he's your one-on-one now. He's the guy that you say, you know what? He reads the coverages. He knows where to be. He knows the spots. He knows the angles. This is a huge one.
Welcome back. It certainly was. That was Kirk Morrison on Sirius XM NFL Radio yesterday talking about the Rams and the signing of Davante Adams. And yes, that should be an interesting combination, a very good one, I think, with Matthew Stafford, a guy that people thought was not going to be there. He's there. Myles Garrett, all the experts, he's going away. He's not going anywhere. And then a whole bunch of other stuff that's going on now with Aaron Rodgers and Russell Wilson. Where will they end up? New York Giants or the Pittsburgh Steelers? And why do I get the feeling, Angel, when this is all said and done, some other team might jump in here for one of those two guys? Everybody's assuming it's the Giants or the Steelers. You don't know. You never understand. The word assume, which is don't make an ass out of you and me. First time I heard that was Bad News Bears and Breaking Training in 1978. Anyway. And never forgot it.
I heard it there, and then I also heard it too on Benny Hill when he wrote it up there on the board. Exactly.
I mean, saw like half naked women on TV. Back in the day.
The funny part was the older guy, the older gentleman. He always used to tap on the head as quick as he possibly could.
Pervert. Crazy stuff. Welcome back to the Pete Sheppard Show here on the Coastal Sports Network. And thanks, everybody, for checking us out. Those of you who are down here for spring training, whether it's for the Boston Red Sox or the Minnesota Twins or the Atlanta Braves, down in this part anyway, or even Tampa Bay, welcome, everybody. Before we get back into more football, yesterday, and I'm trying to find out, and maybe when Bill Bird, who's not down here, he was down here. I missed him last week. He was down here last week, and our paths just didn't cross, unfortunately. I'll tell you what, though, I'm meeting Jerry Thornton is down here on vacation with the lovely Irish Rose, Ann in Cape Coral. They've never been there, so I am heading out after the show, or at some point this afternoon, to go hang out with them.
Oh, nice.
As be on vacation. Yeah, he's got, as usual, when you come down here, the flock of Thorntons, as he said it yesterday to me on a text, are following him down here. So we only have a couple of days where we could actually see each other. And then he's going to be jam-packed with friends and family that he never knew he had because of the house that he rented on Cape Coral. Anyway, but yesterday down the street from me over at JetBlue, apparently Red Sox legend Jim Rice had a heated conversation with a Red Sox staffer in Fort Myers. I'm trying to find out who the staffer is. After a player asked his advice, the staffer then told him that, quote, his advice didn't align with the team's approach, unquote. And he replied, look at the monitor, do what you do, and don't talk to me. That's what Jim Rice said to the staffer. Look at the monitor, do what you do, and don't talk to me. What shithead, idiot, numbnut, dumbass staffer? How dare you say that to the great Jim Rice, Hall of Fame? How dare you? I think it's wonderful that players come up to him and ask for advice. Why wouldn't you? I want to know who the staffer is that did this. And I'm trying to look at the replies. And I've never, and somebody asked if he was a player. Did I hear that also?
I think so. I think
my buddy Greg Dickerson put it out. Did you play, quote unquote? Rice also asked was also asked. Response: No, I don't think I could love. I mean, I don't. I'm telling you, I guess somebody asked him if he played.
Mm-hmm.
What is wrong with you people?
It's because when you don't pay attention to people and others past, that's the problem.
Over 2,000 hits, 400 career home runs. I mean, who is the staffer? Somebody, I got to find this out. What idiot said that? They should be canned or reassigned immediately. I'm not all about cancel culture, but somebody this stupid should not be allowed to walk around and breathe our air on this planet. You are contaminating the earth by walking around with that type of thinking.
My only thing is, though, why would you even approach him and say something like, if a player says or asks, hey, what do you think I should do? Whether it's, I don't care if it was hitting, stance, running, whatever. And then you approach him and basically say, like, if I hear something like, wow, if I don't know who this guy is, and everybody's different, don't get me wrong, then I would be looking like, I wonder who he is. Let me find out. But if you automatically assume and you say something because you think it doesn't fit the culture or however else they wanted to put it, that's kind of a shame on you, because you should figure out exactly who you're speaking with before you say anything.
I'm appalled. I'm livid. I can't believe some dumbass in the Red Sox organization staffer had the balls, and it's so dumb to say that. And I can't wait to find out who it is. And it will come out. It will come out. But that is one of the all-time dumbest things I've ever heard. And I'm embarrassed that it happened in the Red Sox organization. And I'm sure Jim Rice, who's a great guy. He can be a little surly at times, but when he was here, he was with the Red Sox, just a great player. As a Hall of Famer, anybody, I'm sure lots of guys have gone up there, just like they used to go up to Pedro and everybody else. You ask advice, whether it's how to hit or, how do you handle this pitcher or that pitcher. Jim wasn't the greatest left fielder of all time, but he was pretty good, though, and he played the wall as well as anybody at Fenway over the years, including Ted Williams and Carl Yastrzemski. He played that wall just as well. Now, he wasn't nearly as good defensively as those two were, but he wasn't. He was very good. He just wasn't great. Those two were great defensively, but Rice was great playing that ball off the wall. But for a staffer for the Red Sox to question Jim Rice and telling the player, which is probably, I'm sure it was a younger guy. Maybe it wasn't. Maybe it was like Bregman. Who the hell knows? But the fact that you tell Jim Rice that's not the quote once again that the staffer reportedly made was, I still can't believe. I look at it and I still can't believe it. His advice did not align with the team's approach. His advice did not align with the team's approach. Wow.
I want to know, what was the approach? Like,
I don't know. I'm going to assume, which I shouldn't. I'm going to assume it's some offensive type of thing. Or maybe it was just on how to handle day to day. Maybe it's a young guy asking him, hey, time management, how do I handle this? What should I be looking out for? Whatever it is. Jim Rice is not going to give a younger player bad advice.
Right.
This is so ridiculous.
That's what I mean. Like, if they went up to him just for a simple question, like, hey, what do you think about this? Like, I'd rather get advice for someone experienced, even if they didn't play that well. At least they had experience in the majors, Even if I'm getting something from, I don't care if it was from the 80s and 90s, and then something I can adjust to today, pardon me. But to me, it's like, why was it so harsh that you decide you want to, talk to them a certain way? Then you also have, I don't know how the Boston brass staff is, because I've heard from some people love management and there's others that absolutely despise management. So does this make it any better for the Red Sox, who are trying to rebuild once again?
No, look, people can talk about, look, I think they have a good manager, and I think it's the owner that people are concerned. It's not really the GM and President Sam Kennedy and Alex Cora. That's not really the problem. The problem has been the owner and lack of spending until recently. But That's, I think, what the fans of New England have the most problem with the Red Sox. But I don't know who this staffer is, some lackey intern or whatever. That's ridiculous. Meanwhile, the Yankees, which is not ridiculous, and I feel badly for I don't like seeing teams. If I'm a Red Sox fan, I want to play the teams that I want to beat at their best. And right now, the Yankees are not going to have Garrett Cole. He's going to undergo Tommy John surgery today. Here's Jeff Passan with the story on ESPN.
Marcus Stroman, who they tried to trade all winter, now is clearly playing an integral part. And Clark Schmidt's going to start his first game of the spring tomorrow. And Will Warren, one of their pitching prospects, has looked fantastic this spring. So they can go out there with the team that they've got right now and be competitive. But these are the New York Yankees. They're going to explore more than just being competitive. Now, does that mean Sandy Alcantara, the former Cy Young winner who's coming back from Tommy John surgery right now and has looked absolutely dominant for the Miami Marlins this spring? Potentially. Does that mean Dylan Cease if at some point, or maybe even Michael King if the San Diego Padres don't remain in it and want to trade? That's possible too. And let's not forget, they will be getting Luis Heel back. That's just not going to be until June at earliest with a lat strain. So the Yankees have options. They have possibilities. It's just been a grim spring for them with first Giancarlo Stanton and Heel getting hurt, and now Garrett Cole out for the remainder of the season.
Yeah, that's unbelievable. Michael King from Bishop Hendricken High School, my high school, in Rhode Island. Another great athlete to come out of my alma mater there. And I didn't think the Yankees should have traded him to begin with back when they did. And that was part of the Soto deal, I think. But anyway, maybe they get him back. What's his name for the Marlins, who's having a great spring? Florida will trade you. Miami will trade you anyway. So it's only a matter of time.
Right.
The Marlins are never going to be competitive again, as far as I know. So they'll trade him. There's no question about it. Getting back to some of the NFL news from yesterday. Let's get some more. Oh, here's great. So on WFAN yesterday, you Giants fans out there, listen up. Tiki Barber is pissed at you. You, and you. Not Angel, but you are some of you Giants fans out there. You want the Giants to tank for whomever. He says no.
The problem here is the owner. They had a chance in that game against the Colts to lose that game and have the number one pick outright, but the owner told the coach and the GM, you lose this game, we lose all our games at home, you're done. And then he goes, you know what? Out of complete desperation, he's like, you need to make this, you need to draft a quarterback or do something that keeps you here for the long term. That is so dumb.
What should Brian Daboll have done in that game that would have secured a loss?
You don't try to lose, dude. I mean, I wish you'd called earlier.
I'm not saying try to lose.
I wish you had called earlier, but that's the most ridiculous phone call I've ever heard in my life. No player or coach is ever going to try to lose a football game.
I don't get that.
And if someone calls the station again and says they should lose a game, I'm hanging up on you and banning you from the station. It's the stupidest, most ridiculous thing I've ever freaking heard. So stop saying lose games so you can draft higher. The draft is not a guarantee. Rookies suck too, by the way. So forget thinking you're going to change your franchise by losing games. It doesn't work that way because you end up firing people. Everybody has a negative connotation about the organization. Free agents don't come, and it all starts because you want to lose one game. But you want to lose one game, then you want to lose 4 games, and you want to lose 10 games, and you want to suck. And when you suck, guess what? People say you suck.
Is that a song?
So stop calling and saying lose games. I hate it. You guys drive me freaking insane.
There was suck.
I've never said that for the record, T.
It was a basketball game the other day where the Raptors head coach said, I want to lose. So he started playing all his bench players in the final 2 minutes of a close game. The Raptors won anyway. And they won anyway because the athlete that goes out on the field is trying to win.
100%.
So if Brian Daboll in this alternate universe team said, you know what, I want to lose. I'm going to send a bunch of schmucks on the field.
Right.
Those schmucks are going to try and win.
Stop blaming the owner, too, by the way. It has nothing to do with it.
Did he say that either? Did he go into the room and say, you guys better win this game?
No, of course he didn't.
That part wouldn't shock me, the way the horror stories I've heard from Woody from Mara. And I don't know. I find that hard to believe that they would go in there and say that. But look, don't say, but Tiki Barber, here's where you're wrong. Don't say teams don't do it, because they do it. I go back to the Indianapolis Colts. How do you think they got Andrew Luck? By being competitive? No, they tanked the season. They screwed up initially because they gave all that money to Marvin Harrison and Peyton Manning, and they crippled their organization for many, many years as far as getting and winning another Super Bowl. They won one. Great. But it can happen, team. And look, Daboll and Sheen, the problem is they should have been fired midway through the season. I don't know how they both made it. To be honest with you, the coach and the GM of the Giants, they're not going to make it through next year. Oh, God, part of me, I don't know from a Schadenfreude aspect of it, far be it from me to wish ill fate on others, professionally, not personally. Do I want to see Aaron Rodgers go to the Giants and fail, or do I want to see Aaron Rodgers go to the Steelers and fail? I'm torn, Angel. Help me. Cast your vote. Cast your vote. And you're an NFC East guy. I think as an Eagle fan, I'd want to face Aaron Rodgers and beat up on him some more in the division.
Yeah, I would have to say, if you're a Giants fan, if he comes to New York, I mean, it's like, Giants fans like to make fun of New York Jets fans. But if you turn around, then the Jets fans can and make just as much fun as a Giants fan, because to me, they're already in implosion mode anyways, as far as when it comes to the Giants. Now add Aaron Rodgers, if that's the case. And apparently he said that's where he wants to stay. I don't know how many people actually want to welcome him there. And then if you're also trying to change up the culture with the Giants, as we've seen nothing from them for the past 3 to 4 seasons, now it's like, okay, we got rid of Danny Dimes. We let go of Saquon. Now you're telling me our upgrade is going to be Aaron Rodgers?
Hey, how about Danny Dimes to the Steelers?
Yep.
Yep. How about that? Oh, I love it. It's great. All right, more sound. Let's see. Here's Max Starks on Sirius XM NFL Radio talking about the Steelers trading for DK Metcalf.
We got a great receiver. We were looking for that one veteran guy. We tried the experiment the last couple of years, bringing in like an Allen Robinson, of course, Van Jefferson last year. And it just, you needed somebody that was a strong personality, kind of offset George Pickens, but also have an alpha receiver in the room. I'm thinking about the days when I played with Hines Ward and having those type of veteran presence. I think a DK comes in and he gives you the alpha motivation, he gives you the resume, and he gives you the pedigree, no doubt, to really round out that receiving room. DK Metcalf presents a problem for NFL defensive backs. He is the Baba Yaga, right? He's the boogeyman for a lot of DBs, and he is a physical, tall, fast receiver that can stretch the field and also stiff arm you to God knows where. You know what I'm saying? And so that's the reason why he got picked up by the Steelers. When you're talking about creating a toughness and a physical identity that Arthur Smith wants to create on offense, he's the guy. It's like, look for the definition, see picture above, right? And you just see DK Metcalf and he fits that mold.
Yeah. Be a pleasure to watch Aaron Rodgers go there and get picked off as he's trying to get him the ball. Or Russell Wilson, for that matter. Either way, I think the Steelers are going to be in some trouble here. Well, we'll see. Is it still a long way to go? Rich Gannon, also on Sirius XM NFL Radio, talked about the signing of Sam Darnold.
It's an organization that's committed to doing the things the right way. They've had structure and discipline there. They've had a great coach and great general manager, and they brought in a good young coach that I thought did some good things in his first year, last year with Mike McDonald. And they've got a new coordinator in Clint Kubiak that, that's been around. It's got a lot of experience. It's been exposed to some good people in Minnesota and San Francisco and other places. So, I just think that's a good fit, Bruce, for Sam Darnold. A team that's, going to continue to address the offensive line. We talked about their personnel. They got some good running backs with Walker and Charbonnet. They've got a good tight end in Noah Fant and Jackson Smith and Jigba. I think they'll continue to rework and reshape that wide receiver room with the free agents in the draft and a defense that played well last year. And so we'll see. We'll see what this looks like. But I think it's a good fit for Sam Darnold, Bruce. When you think about going to a place, if I'm the agent for Sam Darnold, I want my quarterback to go somewhere where not only does he have a chance to win, but there's some stability around him. And, you go to a team that, won some games last year. I mean, I think that's the impressive thing. I think you look at the fact that, in Mike McDonald's first year, heck, they won 10 games, and they were 7-1 on the road. You got to be better at home, but that's a good situation for Sam Darnold, Bruce. No way around that.
Going to be interesting to see how this all plays out with everybody. And think about where Sam Darnold was with the Jets and now where he is now, at $100.5 million. Good for him. Good for him. If we could scroll down, Angel, I think it's like 4 or 5 down to Pat McAfee. And this is when Ian Rappaport yesterday talked about Chris Godwin staying on with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, left about $20 million, as I said, on the table. I believe the Patriots had reportedly had offered him more than $20 million more than the Buccaneers did, but he wanted to stay in Tampa.
There's a lot of guys who took less money to stay. I mean, Chris Godwin, I know we're talking about defensive tackles, but Chris Godwin, from my understanding, left about $20 million on the table.
Holy shit. Everybody hates moving, Rap. Everybody hates moving. Moving is the worst.
I haven't moved in 12 years, and I don't want to ever move again. Now, again, if you say to me $20 million or move, I would say I could just hire someone to move for me. That's like a whole different conversation.
Overpay somebody? Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Right, but
20? Yeah, make it $19 million. I'm paying $1 million to some moving company, and they are going to be very thankful that they are going to do everything for me.
I mean, yeah, and they do a great job. They wrap everything up. It's not like you don't share a truck like you used to do when I moved. It's like you get your own truck. Anyway, it's pretty cool. I mean, look, it's pretty cool to see for Chris Godwin. Left a lot of money on the table. I know New England was in that pretty heavy, but if you like where you are and they tug at the heartstrings and they do everything they can to get you to stay, a lot of times it's hard to say no. And I think that's what we're seeing here.
Human relationships, and if you have any breaking news or have to do anything, you can certainly jump off and post through Shahab's Twitter account.
Well, I think it might be working now.
Well, it's every 5 minutes, this thing. I can't take. It's almost worse that it's intermittently working because then you don't know if you need to waste time on there. So it's kind of getting us with a little jab, and then a hook.
By the way, speaking of McAfee, while we were on vacation last week, he put out a tweet. And this is the problem I have, not only with the NFL, but other leagues as well. They don't like people like McAfee. I guess when he was at the Combine, he's going to be critical. God forbid you have some constructive criticism, which I have no problem with anybody having constructive criticism. Just don't go reaching for it when it's not there. You got to, but with McAfee, he was treated like shit, apparently. I believe him when he says that, where they put him as far as his show and all that stuff. And he had a beef with the NFL, and they were going to stick it to him at the NFL draft coming up soon. And he said, fuck it. We're not going. We're not taking the show there. Which I don't know if you necessarily in this day and age need to take your show to the NFL draft, because everything is so instantaneous on Twitter. If you're physically there, yeah, it's a great visual for some. But overall, it's like us being home this year for Super Bowl week. Did we really miss anything? No, we had every piece of sound you could possibly imagine. Every piece of sound you could possibly imagine. And no, you missed, I missed like we had Chef Andrew Zimmerman on, who I love, and a few other guests that that walked through Radio Row that we were fortunate to get on and were very good. Wayne Newton was another one. And lots of others. But other than that, you do these shows. It's really for show. It's a matter of image. That's what it comes down to. So Pat just gave the bird to the NFL and said, forget it. You're going to stick me up where I'm not people I don't have access to, then I just won't go.
Yeah, I that is kind of dumb because where he was set up, he was way in the way ups. You can see where they had him set up, and to me, I don't understand why you can't be. You don't have to be to the point where it's like a negative Nancy all the time. But if you're critical because someone didn't run a route, this happened, that happened. That's what it used to be before. Now it's a complete different society where you just can't say what you like anymore. Or people are threatening to, I'm going to sue you for what? Because I said something? Are you out of your freaking mind? But it's just, I think if he doesn't want to go and you're right, you don't have to go the draft. You can go, like if you're obviously a beat reporter or something like that, and like Green Bay, it's going to be for the first time. A lot of people want to go just because it's in Green Bay if they've never been there. But at the same time too, if the NFL is going to be that critical on you and you feel like, all right, you know what? I got a great show. I don't have to necessarily take it there. For what? ESPN's going to be there, but I don't have to freaking be there. So
ESPN's going to be there. NFL Network's going to be there. Fox is going to be there. There isn't anything that is going to break that if you were doing the show right there, unless like yesterday with Schefter on NFL Live and shit was going on, and him and Fowler had to leave the room a couple of times to go answer the phone and then come back. And sometimes I can tell you, I think Zach Wilson thing happened right when they were on the air yesterday. Speaking of Zach Wilson, who, if you saw Tua Tagovailoa's gut on the yacht that we showed earlier today. But here's Adam Schefter breaking about Zach Wilson joining the Miami Dolphins.
Former Jets and Broncos quarterback Zach Wilson reached agreement with the Miami Dolphins to stay or return to the AFC East and back up Tua Tagovailoa, an important position in football. Wilson is going to go down to Miami, back up Tua, get a chance to work under Mike McDaniel. We'll see how that works out. And we can just see it now, right? Zach Wilson's going to start against the Jets at some point this year. Like, that's coming.
Oh, my gosh. And beat them.
That's a great take. Yeah, Hannah Storm. Start against the Jets and beat them. Beautiful. Wouldn't that be something? That would be fantastic.
Sure. And you know the ones that kind of surprised me, if there would be some sort of, it really wouldn't be much of a surprise, but the same way, you can't tell me as the Arizona Cardinals are trying to somewhat beef themselves up, that you still believe in your current quarterback, and that if they really want to do some sort of restructuring with their QBs, then bring in Aaron Rodgers. I think he's about his equivalent as the one they have right now in Arizona.
Yeah, with Murray. I mean, we'll see. That's look. They could be that team. Everybody's assuming Giants in Pittsburgh for Russell Wilson and Aaron Rodgers. Wherever one goes, the other one will be the opposite. Morning, Bill.
Morning, Bill.
Morning, Bill. Good morning, Duncan Dad. And but a team like the Arizona Cardinals could come in there, maybe, and stir the pot a little bit, and maybe another team out there as well, maybe, but we shall see. Quick break, Angel. When we come back, I have a great list for you. A list of bands that Peanut Gallery came up with. She saw this morning. A list of bands that were banned from the Soviet Union in the 80s during the Cold War. The height of it, anyway. Wait till I give you the bands and the reasons why they banned them. We'll have a little fun at the top of next hour, plus a whole lot more NFL stuff, more reaction from you. A couple things here. For the best articles and audio, there's only one source that provides everything you need 365 days a year to satisfy your sports crave. It's Total Sports Prep, the staff combing through the best articles and audio so you don't have to. Sports and non-sports kicker stories will leave you laughing all day long. To get your free trial of Total Sports Prep, contact them, info@sportsbroadcastingcoach.com. That's info@sportsbroadcastingcoach.com. Total Sports Prep, the name says it all. Also, Phil Castanetti's Sports World in Saugus, Mass. is New England's place to buy or sell the finest in sports memorabilia. For over 35 years, Sports World has offered the finest in sports collectibles. So get on down to the Phil Castanetti Sports World, 184 Broadway in Saugus. Call 781-233-7222. That's 781-233-7222 for more information. Sports World in Saugus. Be there. We're also going to watch the video yesterday when we come back. Brad Marchand, his first press conference, and it was an emotional one with the Florida Panthers. Still very difficult to watch him in that cap and jersey, but we'll play that for you as well. And we will have more NFL news and my list of 80s bands that were banned from the Soviet Union, and I'll give you the bands and the reasons why. And You think I'm making it up, but I'm not. Anyway, all part of the Pete Sheppard Show here. It's Tuesday, March 11th here on the Coastal Sports Network.
Hi, folks. This is Gerard Moynihan of Moynihan Lumber, and I would like you to know that our company has been selling Anderson windows for over 60 years. See the complete line of Anderson windows at any of our 3 locations in North Reading, Beverly, or in Plastown, New Hampshire, or at MoynihanLumber.com.
Hey everybody, it's Pete Sheppard from the Coastal Sports Network. Want to tell you about my good friend Lou DiMuzio and his company. Lou is the president and founder of Ace Technology Advisors. They're big-time tech specialists. At ATA, they're able to craft, implement, and manage the best and most appropriate solution for your business. They leverage their industry-leading experience and their portfolio of technology partners to improve your best practices and infrastructure. So you can get a hold of them at 888-599-4223. That's 888-599-4223. Check them out on their webpage, www.acetechadvisors.com. That's www.acetechadvisors.com. Or you can email them sales@acetechadvisors.com. Check out my friend Lou DiMuzio and Ace Technology Advisors.
To some people, the sound of a baby babbling doesn't mean much. But that's not necessarily true. By 6 months, they're combining vowels and consonants. By 9 months, they're trying out different kinds of sounds. And by 12 months, their babbling is beginning to take on some meaning. Especially if there's no babbling at all. Little to no babbling by 12 months or later is just one of the possible signs of autism in children. Early screening and intervention can make a lifetime of difference and unlock a world of possibilities. Take the first step at autismspeaks.org. A public service announcement brought to you by Autism Speaks and the Ad Council.
The following is made possible by Dad.
Why was the basketball court all wet? Because the players kept dribbling all over it.
The dad joke. Corny, grown-worthy, but also one of the simplest ways to share a moment with your kids.
Why do you have to be careful when it's raining cats and dogs? Because you might step in a poodle.
And kids that spend more time with their dads grow up to be smarter, more successful.
Can I tell you a cat joke? Just kidding.
And, with any luck, funnier adults.
Why didn't the skeleton go to the dance? Because he didn't have any body to go with.
Dad jokes rule. So take a moment to make a moment and give your kid a laugh. It's as easy as going to fatherhood.gov. Brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services and the Ad Council.
That's really funny.
Okay, men, this is your time. Maybe you didn't choose this, but you're here now. You're gonna go out there and be an all-star caregiver. It's up to you. So what are you gonna do? You're gonna go grocery shopping, cook, clean, be there emotionally and physically. You gotta dig deeper. Drive them to physical therapy, doctor's appointments. Don't you forget about the pharmacy. I know you won't, because that's what caregivers do. Don't give up. Don't ever give up. This is your time to show the world, your family, and yourself that you're tougher than tough. Now go out there and be the best caregiver this world has ever seen. Caregiving is tougher than tough. Find the care guides you need at aarp.org/caregiving. A public service announcement brought to you by AARP and the Ad Council.
Hi, I'm Danica Patrick, and proud aunt. Watching my nieces grow, play, and learn is amazing. But not every child gets to be carefree. 1 in 6 kids in the U.S. are hungry. 1 in 6. That little girl sitting alone at the playground, she can't play like the other kids. She doesn't have the energy because she's hungry. School lunch will be her only meal today. It breaks my heart that this is the reality in our country, but it's something that Feeding America is working to change. Each year, the Feeding America network of food banks rescues billions of pounds of good food that would have gone to waste. This food is then provided to families and children in need. Being a kid should be about using your imagination, learning, and having fun. These children shouldn't have to miss out on simply being a kid because they're hungry. To find out how you can help end childhood hunger in your community, visit feedingamerica.org.
Brought to you by Feeding America and the Ad Council.
The Pete Sheppard Show. It's fun for the whole family, if it's dysfunctional.
Massive bag has been dropped. Oh, wow. In the city of Seattle. Sam Darnold signs a 3-year deal worth close to $100 million. 30-something for Sam Darnold with the Seahawks per year. Still only 27 years old. He'll be 30 when this one's up. Be able to do another deal if he continues to ball.
There you go, Pat McAfee yesterday. The deals were going up all over the place, and there's another one that might have surprised some. I wasn't sure he was going to get that kind of a contract, Angel. I pointed out a couple of weeks ago because of the last 2 games that we saw from Sam Darnold. I mean, a lot of us speculated that he cost himself about $60+ million. But, you know, the Seahawks saw through that. You see everything, don't you? As Babu Bhatt once said to Seinfeld. Yeah, apparently they did. So he gets a freaking gigantic contract, a $100.5 million deal with the Seattle Seahawks. So we shall see what happens over there. All right, I'm going to, before we get to the list from the Soviet Union in the 80s banning bands, the bands that got banned, and I will tell you the reasons why. But if we could scroll down, Angel, a little bit to yesterday. Brad Marchand had his first press conference with the Florida Panthers. It's just so surreal looking at him. And I haven't heard this audio yet, Angel. Let me see. If we don't, I have another one. But let's. Here's Brad Marchand yesterday with the Panthers.
You know, I've had an incredible run in that organization, and I'm extremely proud. How things went there. Sorry. So yeah, it was very disappointing that things didn't get done, just because obviously I love the organization. I wanted to stay there, but at the end of the day, I also know that business is business, and every player has a shelf life, and regardless if that's when we want it to be or not, sometimes there's things out of our control that dictate situations. If we were in the playoffs at that point in time, we'd probably be having a much different conversation. And I know that. It's something we had talked about previously, but we weren't. And at that point, very tough decisions have to be made. And the one thing that I always respect, I told Cam Swings this, is they have a job to do, and they have to make the best decisions for the team. And I completely understand where the decisions need to be made. It sometimes they work against you, but that's why I believe Swings is one of, if not the best general managers in the league. I watched him for a very long time, excel at his job, and for those who are in the organization and know the effort that he puts in every day and how hard he works, no one would question where his loyalty lies, and that is to do what's best for the team every day. And when you're part of that group, you feel it sometimes, and like I said, every guy has their day, and it's obviously not what you want to have happen, but I don't hold that against him or the group. It's just part of life. It's part of the game. But also, he did create this opportunity for me to be here. So I am grateful beyond words for everything that organization has done. for me.
We've got time for 2 more.
Tough to see that from Brad Marchand. And we had Michelangelo on yesterday, and he was kind of surprised at the move. Certainly it seemed like there could have been a compromise there, that they didn't have to do this, but part of me is happy for him going to a Stanley Cup contender once again, because the Bruins are not that, unfortunately, this year. But wishing Brad the best of luck. The irony, the Bruins host the Florida Panthers tonight, and I don't know. Brad Marchand certainly he's not healthy enough to play yet. Going to be out a couple more weeks, I believe. But it'd be interesting if he travels with the team, which I'm not sure he's going to for this particular game. But I don't know. Maybe he does. He put out an unbelievable tweet, which I'm trying to find. Yes, thanking all the Bruins and the fans of Boston and all that stuff, and was very, very warm, very, very heartfelt. And I've said to you before, Angel, and others, there's only one team in the NHL that I hate, and I don't mean. I just hate the Montreal Canadiens. That's just born and bred. It's just in my blood. That would have been the only team, if he went to, that I'd have a hard time rooting for. But being the Bruins guy that I am, and the rivalries that they've established down here, not only with the Florida Panthers, but obviously even before that, with the Tampa Bay Lightning. I'm a fan of both organizations. I'm a fan of hockey, and I'm a fan of good hockey. Now, some people want to call it some dirty playing, all that stuff. Look, we can make cases like that. You don't like Sam Bennett, you don't like Kachuk, you don't like this player or that player. But I can tell you that watching the Florida Panthers and the Tampa Bay Rays, especially over the last decade, I've come to respect them completely. I don't hate the Florida Panthers. I don't hate the Tampa Bay Lightning, not by any stretch of the imagination. I like John Cooper as a head coach, and certainly what the Florida Panthers have done in winning the Stanley Cup. They've done in the Paul Maurice. I love him. I think he's great. I love his quotes after games, and he and Coop are great coaches, and I think two of the best organizations in all the NHL. I know it's hard for some people to believe that here in Florida, that they're in Florida, but it's been that way for a while. You've seen it. The fan base is unbelievable. The Angels up in Tampa, I've certainly been to both arenas. We went last year to Sunrise to watch the Florida Panthers win in overtime, I think against the Blackhawks. That was a business meeting I was at. And Sean Thornton came by, who's in business operations, or somewhat business operations. Now, they said that he had nothing to do with Brad Marchand coming over. Sean, of course, was on the Stanley Cup winning team for the Bruins back in 2011. And just a hard-nosed third/fourth line type of guy that got the job done. But anyway, they're two of the top organizations in, I don't think just the NHL, in all of sports. They are. The Lightning and the Panthers are excellent at what they do, and it's why they've been at the top of the league the last few years, not only competing, but winning Stanley Cups. And you know this, Angel, up in the Tampa area, how popular they are. I mean, it's insane.
It is. It is absolutely crazy how even from the time I've moved down here, and I've seen the fan base change dramatically. Even the year prior to them winning the Stanley Cup, how much has changed around here. And then obviously being the rivals, the Florida Panthers, who are downstate from us. But yeah, and who would have thought even hockey would have been such a mecca down here in Florida, because you never really think about it. But yeah, with the Lightning, it would have been a nice welcome too if Brad Marchand would have came here. You figured they got a couple of former players to come back for the Lightning. Right now, the Lightning and the Panthers are looking to make Stanley Cup playoff runs, and you had to get who you had to get. But the only thing I feel bad for with Brad, because you can tell he really, really wanted to stay there in Boston. Yep. And you would know more than I would, Pete. But I don't believe, at least in my opinion, I don't believe that Brad just did something to kind of trigger this trade. I think it was just one of the things.
No. It was business. Like he said, look, he wanted to stay. There was he initiated the face-to-face with Don Sweeney, the GM. I thought there was going to be a compromise. He was willing to restructure, do some things there, and then they didn't want to do it. For whatever reason, they didn't want to do it. Now, there's also no guarantee that he's going to stay with the Florida Panthers long term. That's not guaranteed either. Right. He's going to be there for now. If they're smart, they'd sign him up long term. It's going to be hard to watch him out there with Sam Bennett and Keith Kachuk. I just can't believe it. You know, that's what it's come down to. But I wish him the best of luck. Look, people are going to rip Don Sweeney and Cam Neely to shreds, and I'm just telling you, they ain't going anywhere anytime soon. If they didn't have approval of Charlie Jacobs and Jacobs' family and ownership, they wouldn't have made these moves. So I don't think they're going anywhere. I think Florida comes out and although the Bruins have played well, they played one of their best games of the year the other day on Saturday against Tampa Bay. But look, they're still technically in it. They're only a couple of points out of a playoff spot. But all the teams they have to jump over have game in hands, and I think it's going to be next to impossible for them to even grab the 8th seed. But let's see how they play tonight against the Florida Panthers.
Yep.
I don't know if Brad Marchand is traveling with the team. I'm going to assume, here's that word again, I'm going to assume that he's not. But very emotional speech that he made yesterday. Let's see. All right, before Jay Flanley comes on from Ann Arbor and from Bees World, and I'm getting a cut ready because I want him to respond to this from the other day. That stupid silliness going on in the more Big Ten bullshit. I like to call it Big Ten bullshit. You know, I hate you, you hate me. Don't stand on my logo. Don't do this, don't that. Don't crap at this time. I can't stand it. This is just freaking childish. But anyway, it happened again at Michigan State, who's kicked the shit out of Michigan, by the way, the last 2 times this year. But I'll get the cup. I did want to give you this list. I think it's a really interesting list. Peanut Gallery came up. A list of bands. They were banned from the Soviet Union in the 80s. Now, this is alphabetical order. I'm not going to go through every one of them. And then the reason, okay? So here's one. Black Sabbath is probably when Ozzy was still there, right? So these were bands banned from the Soviet Union in the 80s.
Right.
Black Sabbath banned. Reason? Violence, religious obstruction. What is it? Religious obscurantism. Okay. Alice Cooper. Violence and vandalism. Pink Floyd. Interfering the foreign policy of USSR with Afghanistan.
What the heck?
The Talking Heads. Myth of Soviet military danger. The Sex Pistols. Punk violence. Punk, violence. Same can be said for the B-52s. Punk and violence. Madness. Clash Strange. Kiss. One of my all-time favorites. Banned in the Soviet Union in the 80s for nationalism and violence. Iron Maiden, violence. Judas Priest, anti-communism and racism. How about this one, Angel? Donna Summer, one eroticism.
What?
Great Donna Summer, banned for eroticism.
Holy craps.
Tina Turner, reason, sex. Shannon English, reason, sex. Can a hit, homosexualism. The Ramones, punk. Van Halen, anti-Soviet propaganda.
Okay.
Julio Iglesias, neo-fascism. To all the Soviets I've loved before.
Exactly.
You stupid little, I won't say it. Village People were banned for violence.
The Village People? Come on.
10cc with such great hits. You know, like walking in the rain and the snow where there's nowhere to go. You feel like a party.
Wait. I'd love to hear what it got banned for this one.
Neo-fascism.
Wow. Good Lord.
Oh my God. Absolutely unbelievable. Unbelievable. Yeah, those were some bands that were not allowed, banned from the Soviet Union in the 80s. I wonder if there's some underground Soviet rock station. I bet there was.
There probably was.
I don't blame the people. It's the government that, crazy.
Exactly.
Crazy stuff in the Cold War back then. You were lucky to get a piece of bread.
Yep. Jerry from Rhode Island says, good morning, boys. Welcome back. Hope Marchand wins a cup because that's the only way Boston will see one for a while.
Oh, well, I mean, I'm not going to go that far. Look, it's sure as hell not going to be this year. So, and they got some draft picks. They got a number 1 pick this year, 2 number 2s coming up, and we'll see. We'll see. I'm not ready to go down that road yet about I don't speak in absolutes for years and decades to come. I don't do that. Not doing it. 727-858-6650. That is the number to call. 727-858-6650. Thanks for checking us out on the Facebook pages and CSN Florida, on Rumble, YouTube, LinkedIn, and obviously on SR1029 The Game, SR1029thegame.com. We got some... we're doing some retooling here on the network, right, Angel? But, more shows and some different shows going to be coming your way, correct?
Yeah, possibly some stuff here to be done, but that'll be behind the scenes stuff to be taken care of. But yeah, soon some good stuff here, and we just keep the ball rolling as we normally do here. And we'd like to thank once again everybody who does follow us on the socials. We do appreciate it, whether it being like Pete said on Pete's Twitter handle, on mine the same exact way, the one for CSN Florida. So just thank you to everybody who come back and tune in. We appreciate you guys coming back as well after we were on vacation. Well needed, I will put it that way, even though it was a lot of work the vacation week, but still more work to be done. So a lot of stuff coming up. And and
doing a great job. Let's make fun of the Lakers for a second.
Williams D'ing up on Doncic. Roll, Jemison, knock away, Brooklyn. Johnson gets around Goodwin. Johnson, tricky ball handling, takes it to the rim, and throws it down. A Cam slam.
Excellent play by Cam Johnson, and started at the defensive end. His ability to use his hand.
Thanks to the Yes Network for that one. And the Lakers lose to the pathetic Brooklyn Nets, 111-108. Lone LeBron James, yeah. Doncic complaining, bitching and moaning, conventing. Flipping back and forth with the Celtics to the Laker game last night during when the Celtics were in time. I also put the Utah, one thing about having the NBA package, you can put the visiting. So I like to listen to the road announcers once in a while, at least for a quarter. I listened to the Utah road announcers last night for the third quarter. It was like watching or listening to molasses come down a mountain, Angel. I guess when your team only has 15 wins, that's what it sounds like. And I'm like, why would your company waste your time even sending these people on the road? Do the same thing at home, looking at a television. Rick says, good morning, guys. Ready for a spring trading win today, Angel?
Sure, yeah. There was a win yesterday, so I'll take 2 in a row for sure.
Sure. Yeah,
by the way,
spring training, you want to get through healthy.
Yep.
Sticking with the Lakers real quick. Here's JJ Redick after the loss.
JJ, first, just what's the kind of the right way to handle the blitz, and what were the things that weren't happening? If you agree that was something that was an issue tonight,
just throw the ball to the guy.
All right,
throw the ball to the guy.
Do you know why that wasn't happening as much?
I think it was a very low-level communication game for our team. Yeah.
You knew you were going to be shorthanded, but what's the kind of frustration level at the guys that you had out there not playing better?
Yeah, I mean, I don't think being shorthanded is an excuse for how we played basketball tonight.
JJ, you guys shot 2 free throws in the first half. A lot of griping from your players. Do you think that took them out of any sort of rhythm?
No, I think it was just an overall mentality just to take shortcuts tonight.
Translation, you suck. Okay, hang on a second. Yes, we have got a little bit of breaking news. Here we go. And yes, it is the NFL. Well, the New York Giants are signing former Miami Dolphins safety Javon Holland. Adam Schefter had this story. Ari Meroff just tweeted out as well. The Titans were another team with strong interest in Javon Holland, but the price became too high. Tennessee remains in the safety market as well. But the New York Giants are signing former Miami Dolphin safety Javon Holland. I believe that's the first one of the day. Former Lions third-round pick Ifeatu Melifonwu reached agreement on a one-year, $4 million deal with the Miami Dolphins today. Of course, negotiated by Sean Stellato of Stellato Sports. So the Giants free agent announced additions thus far: Javon Holland, Paulson Adebo, Chauncey Golston, Roy Robertson Harris, offensive tackle James Hudson, and Chris Board. But the Patriots did a great job yesterday. Overall, they got Milton Williams, who I think is the best signing of anybody so far. They plucked him away from the Philadelphia Eagles, a guy who's an awesome three-down defensive lineman, can rush the passer, and can also stop the run. You could have made a case for him being the MVP of the Super Bowl last year. That's how good he is. You got Harold Landry, Robert Spillane, Carlton Davis, a couple others, and they signed Dobson at quarterback yesterday as well, which means Joe Milton's probably going to get traded as well. He's got potential. He's got a lot of talent. He's got a lot of raw talent. Joe Milton does. So we'll see. So there's a little bit of breaking news there. What else?
Another way to kind of get to, because I know Rick asked yesterday about the Orlando Predators. That situation, unfortunately, and maybe the league will bring them back before even though it's about to kick off this week. But it was just apparently there was some back and forth that went on. The Predators wanted, and it's public, so it's not like I'm saying anything behind the scenes here.
Yeah, they put out a huge statement.
Yeah, so the Predators wanted to basically switch hands. There was an ownership group that wanted to come in and purchase the Predators. And apparently when they went through and looked at the fine print, because they wanted to see the agreement at AF1, how they had it set it up and stuff, their bylaws, I guess, not an agreement, but their bylaws. They wanted to see how it was set up. And apparently the owner of what was going to be the new owner of the Predators stated, wait a minute, it's kind of like one-sided. It's not really, it's not that's not good business. And so basically he told the Predators, listen, how about we just kind of sit out the season and wait till next year, and then, we'll make the purchase. And then they thought, wait a minute, no, we shouldn't sit out. They should basically say, we're going to meet your demands. And so the AFL went back, or the AF1, went back and said, well, we'll purchase the Predators. We're just going to purchase them at a much lower price. And the Predators, and John was like, no, I'm not doing this. So it was back and forth. Eventually, the AF1 came out with a statement prior to all this stuff being finally handled and said what they had to say. And so finally, John lawyered up and said, okay, this is the kind of games we're going to play. Before you put our names in tarnished way and ruin us, here's what's going to happen. You guys are basically going to be a cease and desist on anything you say about the Predators. And we need to figure out something really quick here before it gets super ugly. So yeah, not too good of a move. And even though there may be some questionable stuff, whether being by both sides, one thing was there should have been something put out there first without finally something by, AF1 and the Predators coming to agreement like, okay, we'll both sit out the season and we'll talk about it come next year. So yeah, that's pretty much it in a nutshell, unfortunately.
Yeah, it's too bad. And I know you're going to be a big part of that, but I guess as they say, Angel, everything happens for a reason, correct?
Sure does.
All right, before we bring in Jay Flannel, in case you missed this the other day, Michigan head coach Dusty May.
What did you see? Were they aware of that tradition? Was it intentional? Or what did you see?
I didn't know there was a tradition where they're shooting a free throw and we have guys standing half court. There's not a tradition that we can't stand half court as the game's going on. So I'm not familiar with that one. Is that a tradition? Okay. Oh, yeah. No problem with that. And obviously it took longer than any 10 F2 timeout monitors, whatever the case. It took a while, but we're fine with that. They've earned the right for that. The seniors have poured their hearts out. As far as the whatever happened, are we not aware? Are we not allowed to stand at half court while they're shooting a free throw? Is that what? Oh, you are? Okay. So, yeah. So he walked up and look, they earned the right to rub our noses in it. That's what it is. We have to play better. We have to get tougher. And so we move on, and we got to compete for another championship this week.
It's not get off my lawn. Get off my logo. Get off my logo. Tradition here in Big Ten. We kill each other if you stand on logos and put, I don't know, do obscene things. And to me, it's all childish and stupid and enough already. Enough already. Go play in a real tournament like the Big East at Madison Square Garden, then you can talk. Anyway, good morning to Jay Flannelly. How are you, my friend? How you doing? Missed you last week. We're on vacation, but I'm tired of this silliness. And it's not just it's all these little stupid little things that are happening in sports that are really the minutia. Takes away from the overall point that Coach May brought up, which you got to play better than against Michigan State and not get your butt whipped twice like you have in the last couple of weeks. But anyway, you get more passionate about that stuff than I do. I think a lot of it is silliness. I think a lot of it's just silliness.
Yeah. I mean, you think I hate Ohio State. You have really ever talked to me about Michigan State? No.
Who do you hate more? Who do you hate more?
Well, Michigan State, not even close. It's not
Really?
even
Not even
close.
Not even close.
Let me tell you, because there's a reason. I'm going to explain it.
Okay.
I worked for Gary Moeller when I first got here. He was a captain of Ohio State.
Mm-hmm.
And that was the era of the John Cooper time when we were killing them. So I came into this flying blind. Remember, the internet was starting to take off. This is 93.
Sure.
So I got used to beating them, and we were like family. Michigan State, there's always things like this going on. And by the way, them kissing the floor, that started because of the Fab Five wiping their behinds on the floor. That's a true story. Look it up. So
I believe you. I believe you.
But again, it's basketball. It's not something I'm really into. I just don't have enough time in my day.
Exactly.
I'm wearing my Michigan baseball hat. We've got a home opener today. But again, it's stupid. It's like us with the flag at Ohio State. And again, but Coach May kind of raised the point. Where the hell are our players supposed to stand? Is it okay for Coach Izzo? Can we go sit in the corner? I mean,
I'm with you. I thought it was a little out of line by Michigan.
Yes.
I mean, what are they supposed to do? I mean, the game is still going on. They're not blocking them after the game. And I don't know.
And listen. When 20 of their football players beat up two of our players in the tunnel, things ended. I have said this 100 times, and I'll say it again on your show. Michigan should have used their powers to get the Michigan State Spartans kicked out of the Big Ten. Because we could have at the time. We could have used the leverage and told them to go to the SEC and leave the league. And they would have been out of the league in 2 minutes. Okay? We don't need Michigan State. We don't need to play them in anything. They start fights in our hockey games. We're not even a tough team. They start fights all the time. They've been a goon squad since Izzo took over their basketball team. He's a jackass, and I'll say that publicly 4,000 times you want. I hate Tom Izzo. He's a jerk. I don't care about anything in that place and that school. I'm going to be going up there tomorrow with their baseball team because we're playing them in a midweek game. They'll do something. We had a player here, Eric Bakic's last year, not 2022, who never played at Michigan State, and Eric took him, and he was a borderline Big Ten Player of the Year. His name was Joe Stewart. Every time he played Michigan State, they threw at him. First time he was up, they hit him in the head. They started off with Adam Fantilli, who won the Hobie Baker. He won the Hobie Baker here at Michigan.
Mm-hmm.
Kid on Michigan State, started a fight with him and supposedly got paid NIL money for it. Stuff like that. It goes on. It happens all the time. They tried to start a fight with us this year. Colson Lovell headbutted the kid. Happens all the time. When we went up there and kicked their ass, the national championship team, they did about 15 cheap shots at the end of the game. We were up like 50-0. Happens all the time.
I just love how, the Northeast has got this reputation of being a bunch of assholes from Philadelphia, Boston.
Well, I'm an asshole from Andover.
All I know is you Big Ten Midwesterners have just as much asshole in you as we do here in the Northeast. I'm absolutely convinced of it.
Oh, yeah. On the college sports, Pete, we're like that. On the college sports, we're like that. But no, I'm a Boston guy. You know this. I'm like you.
I know. I'm just making an observation.
You're a Rhode Island guy, but I'm a Boston guy. But I'm a prick.
Well, I lived in Massachusetts more than I lived in Rhode Island.
My life. And by the way, I was joking with CPR, my high school coach last night. Let's have a pity party for the Yankees. Garrett Cole.
Well, I don't like to see anybody. I like beating teams at their best. That's my contention, no matter what sport it is. I'm not having a pity party for them by any imagination. But I think it sucks. Yeah. But they'll.
Well, no, it doesn't suck. I think it's beautiful. But It's amazing how Garrett Cole's kind of physically fallen apart since he took his toys away. I'm just leave it at that. I'm just going to leave it at that. They took away a lot of the things that helped make Garrett so good.
Before we get into football and everything, but did you hear the story I had? Yeah, this came out yesterday. Somebody at JetBlue in Fort Myers, a player went up to Jim. Did you hear the story? A player
Jim
went
Rice
up,
story. Yep.
Player went up to Jim Rice and asked for advice. The staffer, who I'm trying to find out who the staffer is, then told him that, quote, his advice did not align with the team's approach, unquote. And he replied, look at the monitor, do what you do, and don't talk to me. He apparently was also asked, somebody asked Rice in this particular conversation, I don't know who, did he ever play? I mean,
he's in the Hall of Fame.
I know. I already went off on it, but I want to know.
And I don't even like Jim Rice, but yes.
Who the staffer is.
You'll find out. You'll find out.
All right, let's get into all this NFL stuff. That was unbelievable yesterday, one after another after another.
Yep.
You could very get settled in.
Yep.
But the overall
Twitter was down. Twitter was down.
Was it? Yeah. The
listen,
overall consensus is that the Patriots getting Milt Williams is, if it's not the best free agent signing so far,
one of them.
It's got to be right up there. And you as a defensive guy, you loved the trenches, and this is a third down, 3 down type of guy that rushes the passer and blocks the run as well. He does them both equally well. This was a great signing, along with the other players. I think that they got as well. And Landry, Spillane, Davis. I don't count Dobbs. But anyway, your thoughts on the Mitt Williams thing?
Okay, so let me talk about that. But real quick, I just tweeted this to you. 2 big signings of Sam. Jonathan Allen to the Vikings. Javon Holland to the Giants.
I got the Holland one. I didn't get the Allen one. But
Jonathan Allen just signed with the Vikings.
Okay.
And they're both, I think, 3-year deals. And they're both within 15 to 20 million a year each.
Yeah, Allen.
I tweeted it to you. Yeah.
Yep, $60 million for 3 years for that, and also I did the Holland one. I did the breaking news, but when we were talking,
so before we talk about the Patriots, Pete, just a lot of what you're seeing in those two teams I'm just talking about, quarterbacks on rookie deals with JJ or the Giants don't have a quarterback, so that's part of it. But you saw yesterday, I messaged one of my friends. His son plays at Ohio State, used to play here, and I said, give me some teams you see and like what they're doing. And just happened to say to me, Colts, Denver, and who was the other one? Colts, Denver, and Washington. I said, well, they have quarterbacks on rookie deals. So how you manage your money, and this is a cautionary tale, don't watch Dallas and Cincinnati because they have completely screwed the Bengals are so screwed. They have screwed everything up. If I said to you when if I came on the show last year, the Bengals, because remember, we're Patriots guys, the Bengals would pay Mike Gesicki before Jamar Chase, T. Higgins, and Trey Hendrickson. What would you say?
Well, I would have said crazy, but it's also a much, much different pay. How much did Gesicki
Without
get?
question.
Yeah, I mean, we're talking
about. He
got
like 28 over 3 years. Which is the lowest number of those 3 guys.
I look at the Steelers with DK Metcalf, and they don't have a quarterback. Now, it's either going to be allegedly 1 or 2 people. It's going to be Aaron Rodgers and Russell Wilson.
Well, they have an idea, Pete, what the
one
numbers
goes to Pittsburgh. The other one's going to probably go to the Giants unless there's another team, which who knows, could maybe swoop in and whatever. And I said this to Angel.
Kyler Murray.
I'm not sure. Yes, we brought up Arizona. I'm not sure where I want to see Aaron Rodgers fail. With the Giants or with the Steelers? I'm trying to figure it out. Do I want to see Mike Tomlin's record tarnished because he's never had a losing season?
Oh, that's a good one.
With the bullshit that goes along with signing Aaron Rodgers and all the distractions, I'm trying to figure out where I want him to fail. With the Steelers or with the Giants? I don't know. I'm torn.
Okay. I think he's going to go to the Steelers. And they're going to trade Pickens. Now, here's the $1 million question. Would you take Pickens with Vrabel and the Patriots?
I would take Pickens because Vrabel, because of the coach.
Would kill him.
Kill him. Not going to put up with the shenanigans there. And to satisfy his own wide receiver diva ego, he immediately becomes like the number one guy.
but again, that's dangerous. You're right.
It
In theory,
is,
you're right.
It's baggage here. I don't want to go AB again. That lasted a week. I don't want to go AB.
Yeah. Because
and
they
Tony
don't have. They struck out on Godwin. He took way less money to stay in
Yeah,
town.
well, I mean, I respect that from him. That's
I do too. I love Godwin.
But the Patriots at least made a valiant effort. So all these fucking idiots up in North who are talking about who talked out of their ass yesterday because the Patriots didn't do anything in the first hour and they came back and ate a whole shitload of crow with the sriracha sauce on the side. Idiots.
Well, not only that, they stole Milton Williams from Carolina. They paid him more.
Mm-hmm.
So Pete, just to go along with what you said, I really like what they did. First of all, they kicked it off with Harold Landry, who I love on Sunday night.
Yep.
And then Milton Williams. I'm not a huge Carlton Davis guy. Let me explain, because he gets hurt.
Yep.
But when he plays, he's good.
Question.
And there's videos out there. Jamar Chase says that's the best corner he's played against. So and also don't forget something. They have Christian Gonzalez.
Absolutely.
So he's going to be more of the two guy, like Otis Smith with Ty Law.
Yep.
So and that works him well. I love Robert Spillane. Pete, you and Angel know this. I have no effing life, so I watch almost every NFL game. On the Raiders, Spillane stands out. He and Max Crosby stand out because they're always
awesome with the Raiders. I don't think people realize how great he was. Not good, great with the Raiders last year.
Stands out on tape.
Yep.
Like Brian Urlacher, Ray Lewis, middle linebacker play, and he's a smaller guy. And he fits Vrabel's defense. Vrabel wants his front seven guys going forward. That's why they moved off Godshall. Now, they brought in the Tumunga guy from Arizona because he's the one knows. They'll play him on rundowns, and then they'll mix and match everybody else. And obviously, we talked about Milton Williams, the best D lineman on the market from a team, though, that rotated a lot of guys. So the Patriots have to continue to do that with Dietrich Wise and some of the other veteran players they have. So we'll see. And again, also remember something very important. In today's NFL, Pete, you and I talk about this a lot. This isn't the fullback and tight end league. It's spread. It's 3 and 4 wides. So you rotate your D linemen. Sometimes you only have 2 D linemen on the field, and a lot of your rush guys and cover nickel guys, dimes, cover linebackers, those type of guys. So the interior defensive lineman guys are still in the game, but there's less of them in the game, and they'll rotate out. That's what the Eagles do. I mean, they're not going to run Jordan Davis and Jalen Carter on the ground, so they're going to rotate some dudes. But I think it was a really good day for the Patriots. Very pleasantly surprised. I even like Matt Collins because he'll come in and babysit the other wide receivers.
Look, he's a pro. I think Collins a pro's pro. You know this.
Yes.
And people forget. Remember the catch he made last year in the AFC Championship game?
Oh yeah, the Bills game. Oh yeah, he's awesome.
He's a number 4, number 5 guy. He's a very good special teams guy.
Like Matthew Slater.
Yeah, Matthew Slater, who very rarely got in as a wide receiver unless the Patriots were really banged up. But Slater's an all-time.
But he's a better receiver than Matthew was, and Matthew a better special teams guy. Yeah,
absolutely. We're talking Slater being one of the best ever. Him and Tackle being 2 of the best ever.
Well, we had Mosey Tutupu and Larry Wiggum too back in the day. So
Larry Wiggum,
I remember when Pete came in. No, I really liked what they did, and just looking at the division, I for one popped a cork and had a parade when I saw the Dolphins sign Zach Wilson to back up Tua, who's always healthy. Peter,
wait a second. Did you see? Did you see Tua on the yacht?
No.
Angel, can we punch that up and still frame it for Jay? Wait till you see the bear gut on him.
Really?
Oh, yeah. Yes. It is noticeable. I'm a big guy, but I used to way back.
It's almost April. It's almost April.
I know. Wait till you see
And he's in Miami. He's out of shape.
He's on a yacht. I don't know where the yacht was. He's got a bear gut. Like, it's noticeable. It's bad.
Really? And he's not a big guy.
No, that's why it's so noticeable. So look at.
Oh, I see it.
If we could run that, Angel, real quick, it's only like a 3-second.
I'm more focused on the lady in the front.
Yeah, but look at his gut. Can we do it again, Angel? Look at that thing.
He's in Miami.
Yeah, I'm sure he is. But Jesus, I mean, is he going to lose all that before? That's like,
Oh, that's my point. Hey,
maybe
you know what though? Good
right there.
Pete. The good news is he's got an endorsement with Dunkin' Donuts. So I mean,
Can you get a 0-calorie donut or a munchkin? I don't think so.
Pete, I'm 53 years old. I'm in better shape than he is.
You absolutely are.
Except I don't have T.J. Watt, Aiden Hutchinson, and Michael Parsons trying to kill me. So I mean, it's wow. It looks like Josh Wilson. I mean, Zach Wilson or whatever the hell his name is.
Yeah.
He's going to end up playing. Now, what do you make of the Jets signing Fields?
Well, I look at it from a couple of standpoints. One, a few things. One, can he be the franchise quarterback they've been looking for the last 60 years? I don't know. What I do know is
that's very mean and very true at the same time. Nice job, Pete.
I'm so sorry. I don't
you know my favorite Jets stat, right? The last time the Jets won the Super Bowl, we hadn't landed on the moon yet. Boom, boom, boom.
Yeah.
I got that from Ian O'Connor of all people. So
Yeah,
that's a true stat, by the way.
Neil Armstrong, instead of saying what he said when he landed on the moon, should have said it's a great, step from, someday, maybe the Jets will win.
Maybe not.
Maybe not a Super Bowl. But no, what he does not bring to the Jets is all the distractions of Aaron Rodgers. So I'm sure Aaron Glenn is going to be happy about that. I don't know, going to that organization initially, how what he's going to be able to do, especially in a very, very tough environment. But he's got a lot of pressure on him. Trevor, what's up, Trevor? How you doing? We'll talk to you in a couple of days. But what is? I don't think the question is, Jay. I don't think we know what kind of a player Justin Fields is. We've seen flashes in Chicago. We've seen flashes in Pittsburgh. We've seen the good, the bad, and somewhat the ugly. I really, the answer is I don't know, because I know he's got raw talent. There's no question about that.
Sure.
I don't know. And I think Aaron Glenn is, I don't know. See, it's the Jets, so it's hard for me to say anybody going in there is going to make
good players. They have good players around them.
I don't know. What do you think? I have to wait. I have to wait and see how he's going to develop in Aaron Glenn's system, a word that I hate. But I just don't know. We've seen the good, the bad, and the ugly in two places, and I don't know. Maybe the Steelers should have kept him.
Well, a couple things. The Bears clearly were dysfunctional. Look what they just did with Caleb Williams.
Absolutely.
And he's going to be on his fourth offensive coordinator. Think about that. When the season kicks off, he'll be in his second year with his fourth offensive coordinator. You couldn't, if you wanted to develop a quarterback poorly, you couldn't do any worse. I know the Patriots tried hard with Mac Jones, but this is way worse. As bad as the Mac Jones things with Patricia and Joe Judge and all this stuff.
Boy.
But here's the other thing. Then Fields goes to the Steelers, who are traditionally a defensive team, outside of going back to Terry Bradshaw when they had, Ben Roethlisberger, and they had Tommy Maddox was okay, and Bubby Brister and some other guys. But
do you remember when they
Cordell
Brister's mom on TV? Do you remember that Bubby Brister's mom was constantly being shown on TV? And no offense to Mrs. Brister at the time, but she looked like Juan Epstein from Welcome Back, Kotter. It was awful, awful. Like
I knew you were going to say that.
You turned to stone as your TV when they showed
Mr. Kotter. So there you go. I love
great
that.
lines,
Horseshack. Horseshack.
One of the great lines in that series was there was one time where they had where Washington beat out Barbarino for the sweat hog president, basically. And he started being really obnoxious. He started blowing a whistle, and Mr. Carter goes, "Freddie, take your whistle and blow." That's pretty racy for that time in the 70s,
No, the stuff that we used to get away with, like Archie Bunker and the Jeffersons and Sanford and Son and all these other shows, like they'd throw Archie Bunker. Archie Bunker's probably the worst one ever.
Well, what Norman Lear was trying to make fun of racists. That's what he was doing. But
that's the point. Yes.
Right. Those shows are putting on Netflix and Hulu and other stuff now, but they wouldn't. It would be tough on mainstream TV.
No, it's funny. But no, going back to the Jets and Fields, I don't think Fields hasn't been an offensive guy and allowed to grow. I don't even know who Aaron's offense coordinator is. I should know that. Angel, send me to the penalty box.
Aaron's?
Oh, it is. Is it Ferentz?
No, you said you're talking about Aaron
Oh,
Rodgers.
who is the Jets offensive coordinator?
Give me 2 seconds.
Hold on, I'll look it up.
I'll look it. I got it. Go ahead. Continue your thought. I'll get it.
No, I think it might be Darrell Bevel.
No, I think you're right.
So no, I mean, just get him in a good situation. That's part of why Brock Purdy's done well. Caleb Williams working with Tommy's old backup there. He was the Arizona Cardinals coach. Kevin O'Connell, whoever goes and plays with him in Minnesota's good. Part of the struggles with the Patriots was Tommy was really the OC. He left. They had more defensive type of guys around. So Cliff Kingsbury is the Washington offensive coordinator.
Well,
he'll be head coach next year.
This is weird. I just looked up on our lads, which is great. I mean, they are so up to date.
I love our lads. Love our lads.
They don't even have him listed as a head coach. They got the offense and defense and the depth charts and everything else, but they don't.
They don't have anybody left. Well, the Jets really don't have a coach, so that's part of the.
Maybe they don't exist. Did we miss something? Maybe they're not in the league anymore.
Hey, Pete, by the way, I'm going to give it a plug. That's what I use for my scouting. Or lads is depth charts and everything.
Oh, yeah.
Everybody knows about PFF and things like that. And I use that too, obviously. But, yeah, I mean, let me look. I'll tell you right now who the OC is. I think it's Darrell Bevel.
Oh, there it is. No, it's Tanner Engstrand.
Okay, who came from the Lions?
Yes. Yeah, Tanner Engstrand and Steve Wilson's defensive coordinator. Yeah, I hit the rock for that to happen. Usually
he's been kicked. Steve Wilkes has been kicked around. Apparently, he's really good because he keeps getting hired. He was the guy that Kyle Shanahan blamed for the Super Bowl a couple years ago.
Oh, wonderful.
And fired him. Yeah, remember that?
Right in.
He called the timeout in overtime. Because he didn't like Wilkes blitzing.
That's right.
So, yeah, he embarrassed him on national TV. See, I really listen. Kathy, my business partner, she's in Boston right now traveling. I hate Kyle Shanahan. I don't think he's very good. I just think he's this generation's Marty Schottenheimer. He'll get you there. He ain't gonna win. He's just there. Gave him the greatest group of talent ever. And by the way, what an interesting offseason for that team. The 49ers they're really breaking their team kind of apart. They let Kyle Yurcik go yesterday.
Yep.
And now the most senior guy on that team is George Kittle. But this is a really precautionary tale, Pete. And we were just talking about this with the salary cap. If you pay Robin Batman money, the tax guy and the money guys are going to show up, and that's what they did with Brandon Ayuk. They screwed their team up. The Bengals screwed their team up last year when they didn't move off Higgins or pay him. You got to, if you have Alvin Harper, you got to figure it out because you're going to keep Michael Irvin. People don't understand that reference. It's 30 years ago with the Cowboys. So, but that's a real obvious one.
Well, yeah, I went back to Andrew Luck and Marvin. Not Andrew. Well, how they got Andrew Luck is because of Marvin Harrison's deal and Peyton Manning's deal at the same time crippled the organization. So when people in Giants country are calling FAN saying, we need to tank, and Tiki Barber's out there, well, teams don't do that. Yeah, they do. Teams do that. Okay, they do it. The Colts will deny it, but they did. They tanked, and they got their guy Andrew Luck.
For Luck.
Yeah, they did it.
Suck for Luck.
Miami, it's 10-2. I mean, it happens.
Well, that was funny because they won. They beat the Patriots and lost out on Joe Burrow. So it was nuts. And of all people, Gesicki.
Yeah.
Gesicki beating Patrick Chung in the back of the end zone.
Now, how about this? Now, I think you and I were on the same page about a month ago. I mean, it's hard to believe Super Bowl was like a month ago. But we were talking about Sam Darnold. And
sure. Angel remembers. Yeah. Angel remembers. He and his buddy Sirianni.
Yep. And I remember.
Big extension coming for Sirianni, Angel. I know you're excited.
It's coming. No, he's all in for it.
He's doing a pitchfork like this right now. Angel's doing that.
But we were talking about the Sam Darnold in his last two games, the last regular season game against Detroit, and then a playoff game. If he cost himself like $60 million, I was not convinced entirely he would get the kind of deal. And then lo and behold, yesterday he gets a 3-year, $100.5 million deal with Seattle. A little surprised by that, a little bit.
Well, okay, so this is funny. So I was I went into work yesterday and I was talking to my owner, Dennis Tice, and I told him, I said, watch, Sam Darnold's going to get $50 million guaranteed. Because here's the problem, Pete. There's 32 quarterbacks, right? There's about 6 or 7 really, really great ones, high-level guys. We all know who they are.
Yeah.
And then there's about 10 other guys that are pretty good, the Derek Carrs, the Kirk Cousins, those type of guys. And then you have a bunch of slop, and then you have the rookie guys, and they're all figuring out. But there's not really 32 starting quarterbacks in this league. That's why guys like Jacoby Brissett, back in the day, Ryan Fitzpatrick, Gardner Minshew, got Jimmy effing Garoppolo, who continues to get signed by people. He can't effing play. He never could.
So good.
That too. But no, it's the league is set up. So if you're good and you get to a certain level, you're going to get paid. I mean, I go through this with the Lions people. I'm not a golf guy, but he's good enough. I've got an idea down the road for the Lions because the Bengals going to run Joe Burrow off. He'd look real good here. So, just the way you have to look at your league and listen, Pete, you and I watch the Patriots. We know what it's like to go through the quarterback carousel, and people are going to laugh at us because we had Drew Bledsoe and Tommy for 30 years.
But they don't remember the Steve Grogan, Matt Cavanaugh years, which was
Tony Eason, Hugh Millen,
Tony Eason from
Mark Wilson.
Mark Wilson. I was there covering those games with Lisa Olsen.
My senior year.
Yeah. I was
Tommy Hodson.
Beg people. Though I had to be there for those games. They would beg people to come and cover the team. Please, Pete, please come. Stick a microphone in somebody's face as you're tripping over weight rooms in the weights in the media room because they didn't have one then.
People forget that they did the press conferences in the weight room, which was a joke.
Awful. I remember going to Bill Parcells. Like, Coach. At least Bill knew everybody's name. So did Belichick. I mean, but Bill Parcells would call you out by name. In the back, yeah. Was this the best win you've ever had since being here, beating the Bills? But it was so awful. People, I mean, it was terrible.
People don't understand what it's funny for people like me and you, who are part of the turnaround with the Crafts buying the team. You mentioned Parcells doesn't get talked about enough, and part of that is because the Crafts killed him in the dynasty. Just where they were and to get the new stadium. And unfortunately now that's kind of outdated because everybody gets new stadiums. It's 20 plus years old. 2002 is when it opened. But no.
I want a funny thing. Otherwise I'll lose. So when they're building the stadium, we're doing the big show from there one day, right? And it's about 3/4 built. So Jonathan gives Glenn and I were both much bigger at the time, me even more so. And he's like, follow me. And you follow Jonathan Kraft. It felt like climbing the Empire State Building, but we're climbing
compared to what the other one was.
Upwards on a ladder to see some of the new construction where the luxury boxes were going to be, because that was never a part of. And I thought I was going to die. I'm like, I thought it was, luckily there was an easier way down, but I remember us climbing up a ladder in August, something like that. It's and I was like, oh my God, I'm going to die. I was literally like 80 plus pounds heavier than I am now. And I said, Jonathan, I was like, well, we're dying. And Freddie's right behind us too. And Freddie was in shape. He's like, how much longer?
Freddie retired recently. Yeah.
Yeah, but anyway,
no, it was.
We digress. I mean, I'm like, oh my God, are we ever going to make it? Am I going to die?
So it'd be interesting. They've got the new facility they're building.
Yeah.
I think it's like an upgraded indoor and family center type of thing because they got killed for the NFLPA survey thing. So they're gonna.
They're gonna
have that.
But if a bunch of that was because the plane didn't have Wi-Fi, which it should. But Jesus Christ, I mean, Robert Kraft has sent that plane out and done so many. Humanitarian
charities, hurricanes, and stuff.
How much did the Wi-Fi come into play from the the D that they got for that kind of. I mean, I don't
That's
know.
pretty bad.
A lot of it. A lot of these organizations want childcare. You know, they want your children taken care of. That's a big.
Well, I mean,
beef
I
on
was just talking about the Bengals, Pete. How about their players have to walk across traffic to go to practice? The practice, yeah.
Yeah,
I mean, that's people don't know what I'm talking about. The Cincinnati Bengals practice facility. There's like a two-way like intersection. They have to walk across the street to go to the practice field. It's all over the internet. You'll see Joe Burrow and friends doing this, and this is true story that happens every day.
Hang
So
on,
have you ever
can you send Bill Burt a link, please? Please send Bill Burt a link. He can't access his old email. So I mean, for whatever his old email.
That's my Eagle Tribune buddy.
Yes, but go ahead. I'm sorry.
Tell my so there you go. So be nice to Bill.
Oh, I'm always nice to Bill.
Bill's my guy, man. He grew up. Well, when I was growing up, he used to cover me in my teams when I was growing up back in the day. So
his son is
over high.
His son Max is still in
Yankees.
the Yankees. Yeah.
Maybe he can be the ace starter for the Yankees.
No, they're making boy Michael King back from the Padres, maybe, who went to my high school, Bishop Hendricken High School.
Oh, no way.
Yeah, they might get him back. They're thinking about it.
Well, the Mets were talking about trying to trade for him too, and Dylan Cease.
Yep.
So the Padres are weird, Pete. They're going through this ownership change, yet they've got a lot of big ticket guys. Zinder Bogarts, Machado, and a couple other guys, and U of M's own Jacob Cronenworth's there, so we'll see. But no, the other thing, Pete, I had to ask you, because we're both Bruins guys, what did you think of all the moves?
I'm not, look, I had my buddy Mick Colagio on yesterday. We were talking about it. When they lost to the Maple Leafs 2 weeks ago, when they blew that 3-0 lead, I threw in the towel. I don't like throwing in the towel. I threw in the towel. So nothing really surprises me. Did they get enough back for all these guys?
I think so.
That remains to be seen, especially
the Carlo trade did really well.
First round pick this year and 2 second rounders this year coming up and some others. You know, only time will tell. What Don Sweeney's saying, and the people who want to say you're going to fire Don Sweeney, fire Cam, it's not happening. No. If they would not have let those guys do what they did, if they were going to be fired, that's not the Giants or the Jets. Okay, that's not going to. It's not going to happen. No, it's surreal.
Sometimes it's just not your year, Pete. That's what McAvoy getting hurt. Yeah,
it's just some buzzards luck there. We played a press conference from Brad Marchand yesterday. Very emotional. Mm-hmm. 3 minutes of him in tears, and I understand a lot of people are. It's like he said, it's business, part of the game. Look, after seeing Wade Boggs ride a horse in Yankee Stadium with a Yankee, you know, I just think. See, I don't hate the Florida Panthers or the Tampa Bay Lightning like a lot of Bostonians do. I just don't.
You're down there.
I have so much, but I've just, even if I wasn't, I have so much respect for what they've accomplished.
Really good organizations.
I love Paul Maurice. I love John Cooper. You know, 2 of the best coaches in the NHL. I love the GMs, the organizations. Joe Zito does a great job, as does Brisbois for Tampa Bay. I mean, so look, I hope they go far in the playoffs. The Bruins aren't going to be there, so I'll be rooting for him and all the best, and all the rest of the Bruins. I hope they'll do very well in their respective teams.
Pete, do you deal with Philip Zito at all with the Lightning?
I have not. I have dealt with. In fact,
he's the radio guy. He's one of the radio guys.
Yeah, he was also he's also a GM back in the day.
He might be the single best interview of all time. If you probably know this.
Oh no,
just give him a microphone and get out of the way. Just get.
He's great.
I mean, he's got a story about everybody.
Yeah, no question.
So it's nuts. But no, I agree with you on the Bruins. They're just not our year.
But all right, and a couple of last thoughts here. Getting back to the top free agents remaining today, including Aaron Rodgers, Stephon Diggs, Keenan Allen, Joey Bosa, Nick Chubb, Amari Cooper.
Okay, Bosa is deciding between the Dolphins and the 49ers. Tyler Lockett's going to Vegas.
Cam Robinson, Justin Reed.
Cam Robinson would be good for the Patriots.
Stephon Gilmore as well.
No,
Evan Ingram.
I'm not a Gilmore guy. I'm
just saying who's available.
I know, but so here's the thing: the Patriots get another adult wide receiver. I would call the Rams and offer them like a 6th or a 7th for Cooper Kupp, and then you get Cam Robinson, who Doug Marrone used to coach, and you put him in left tackle. So then you have your offensive line set going into the draft. You don't have to overdraft the short arms guy. You can take whoever you want at 4 or trade down. You know, whether you like Mason Graham or the Arizona receiver or Abdul Carter falls or whatever, you can do what you want it for. Don't be pigeonholed into having to take somebody at the 4 spot, and whether it's Cam Robinson or somebody else. You got to get a functional name left tackle. I love Moses, who they signed. It brings toughness to your team. But, you know, get a wide receiver is not named Stephon Diggs. I wouldn't touch. Stephon Diggs to me right now is like a pit bull with AIDS. I would stay away from him at all costs. It just, I know that's not possible. It's just a play on words. Pit bulls can't get AIDS, but just a nice visual of you imagine what a pit bull with AIDS would be like. But no, I think they still. That's what I said. They need they could fill one of those spots today.
Yep.
Left tackle or a good wide receiver. DeAndre Hopkins is another one. DeAndre Hopkins to me, I think, would be, because Vrabel has a history with him. And you know, maybe there's another wide receiver, not Stephon Diggs, but somebody else. I would have liked Slayton, but he re-signed with the Giants. Christian Kirk got signed already he got traded to Houston. But there's got to be another wide receiver out there. Call a dumb team and see if maybe Saints will give you the Chris Olave.
Yeah, exactly.
And they're always, like I said, dumb team, and they're in cap jail. But no, I think you'll see some smart moves here in the next. What about Keenan Allen? Would you like him, Pete?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, there's not many guys I wouldn't have. A couple that you mentioned I wouldn't have. But no,
listen, an underrated move that happened late last night. Najee Harris to Jim Harbaugh and the Chargers.
1-year deal.
Pete, we've all made mistakes with pizzas and whores. Okay, be nice.
I'm not worried. That's please.
I'd like to mix those too, so just be nice.
He's done an amazing job. The Big East tournament is the best in all of college basketball in that arena.
I agree.
It's going to be awesome, and
it is.
I think there's teams that will do some damage. And wait, by the way, what's the weather like for baseball today in Ann Arbor?
It's like beautiful, 55, 60 degrees.
Get out.
It was beautiful yesterday too. By the way, Pete, it's gonna be like 75 on Friday.
Nice. Well, good luck to them. BC just had a nice series win at Virginia.
2 out of 3 at Virginia.
Yeah, big.
Bird ball, baby.
Yep.
Bird
all right,
ball.
buddy. Good luck to you.
Good to see you, Pete. Hello to you, brother. Thank you. Bye-bye.
All the best. All right, Jake Planley there. Going to take a quick break. Angel Martinez, if we can, then get ready for Bill Burt, who he claims he has the link. You never know with Bill. So you just never know. So I'm going to text him, see if he'll come on a little bit earlier as well. And otherwise, I have some other video and stuff from the NFL. All right, quick break here on the Pete Sheppard Show, and we're right back with Bill Burt talking more NFL here on the Coastal Sports Network.
Hi, folks. This is Gerard Moynihan of Moynihan Lumber, and I would like you to know that our company has been selling Anderson windows for over 60 years. See the complete line of Anderson windows at any of our 3 locations in North Reading, Beverly, or in Plastown, New Hampshire, or at MoynihanLumber.com.
Hey, everybody, it's Pete Sheppard from the Coastal Sports Network. Want to tell you about my good friend Lou DiMuzio and his company. Lou is the president and founder of Ace Technology Advisors. They're big-time tech specialists. At ATA, they're able to craft, implement, and manage the best and most appropriate solution for your business. They leverage their industry-leading experience and their portfolio of technology partners to improve your best practices and infrastructure. So you can get a hold of them at 888-599-4223. That's 888-599-4223. Check them out on their webpage, www.acetechadvisors.com. That's www.acetechadvisors.com. Or you can email them sales@acetechadvisors.com. Check out my friend Lou DiMuggio and Ace Technology Advisors.
Okay, men, this is your time. Maybe you didn't choose this, but you're here now. You're gonna go out there and be an all-star caregiver. It's up to you. So what are you gonna do? You're gonna go grocery shopping, cook, clean, be there emotionally and physically. You gotta dig deeper. Drive them to physical therapy, doctor's appointments. Don't you forget about the pharmacy. I know you won't, because that's what caregivers do. Don't give up. Don't ever give up. This is your time to show the world, your family, and yourself that you're tougher than tough. Now go out there and be the best caregiver this world has ever seen. Caregiving is tougher than tough. Find the care guides you need at aarp.org/caregiving. A public service announcement brought to you by AARP and the Ad Council.
Hi, I'm Danica Patrick and proud aunt. Watching my nieces grow, play, and learn is amazing, but not every child gets to be carefree. 1 in 6 kids in the U.S. are hungry. 1 in 6. That little girl sitting alone at the playground, she can't play like the other kids. She doesn't have the energy because she's hungry. School lunch will be her only meal today. It breaks my heart that this is the reality in our country, but it's something that Feeding America is working to change. Each year, the Feeding America network of food banks rescues billions of pounds of good food that would have gone to waste. This food is then provided to families and children in need. Being a kid should be about using your imagination, learning, and having fun. These children shouldn't have to miss out on simply being a kid because they're hungry. To find out how you can help end childhood hunger in your community, visit feedingamerica.org.
Brought to you by Feeding America and the Ad Council.
Adopt US Kids presents What to Expect When You're Expecting. A teenager. Learning the lingo.
Today I'm going to help parents translate teen slang. Now, when a teen says something is on fleek, it's exactly like saying, that's rad. It simply means that something is awesome or cool. Another one is totes. It's exactly like saying, totally, just shorter. As in, I totes love going to the mall with Becca. Another word you might hear is jelly. Jelly is a shorter, better way to say jealous. As in, Chloe, I am like so jelly of your unicorn phone case.
You don't have to speak teen to be a perfect parent. Thousands of teens in foster care will think you're, rad just the same. To learn more, visit adoptuskids.org. A public service announcement brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, Adopt U.S. Kids, and the Ad Council.
This is the story of a very special woman. In a matter of seconds, she turned herself into a great mathematician or an entrepreneur. Her knowledge was limitless and still is. She could also make monsters disappear, especially those that lurked in the shadows under the bed. Once, this woman put back together a teenage girl's broken heart, which had been shattered in 1,000 pieces, just by giving her a bear hug. She masqueraded as a regular person at work, but as a superhero at home. Everyone knows her as Gabriella. I still call her Mom.
Your hero needs you now, and AARP is here to help. Find the care guides you need to help, complete with tips and resources at aarp.org/caregiving. A public service announcement brought to you by AARP and the Ad Council.
You want the best in sports and entertainment? You got it. Now back to the Pete Sheppard Show.
All right, back here on the Pete Sheppard Show, final segment of this awesome program today. Bill Burke from the Eagle Tribune going to log on with us in about 3 minutes, a little earlier today, as we talk an incredible day one of free agency signings, and it has continued somewhat today as well. Thanks, everybody, for checking us out here on the Coastal Sports Network. Following me on Twitter at pshep326. On our Facebook pages, on sr1029thegame.com, the awesome app, on CSN Florida, Rumble, LinkedIn, YouTube, and call or text the show at 727-858-6650. Going to go see my good friend from Barstool Sports, Jerry Thornton, who's down here on vacay, staying over in Cape Coral. Going to go pay him a visit at some point today, and his lovely wife, Ann, as he very affectionately calls Irish Rose. So Billy's coming up. We'll see. So Angel, you expecting anything else from the Eagles over the next couple of days? I don't think anything earth-shattering is going to happen. I think they've done, despite losing Mitt Williams, you guys are still in. You're in great shape. You're in such good shape that you can afford to let a guy like Mitt Williams go. That's how good your team is.
Yeah, which is kind of scary, especially the way I had talked about them last season. But yeah, they're in really good shape. I don't think anything major is going to end up happening within the next couple of days. Howie, once again, I'm pretty sure will do his homework as he always does, especially when you're the 32nd pick in the draft. But he always lines stuff up good. We already know that the Eagles love the South version of the Eagles was Georgia Bulldogs. So I'm quite sure it'll be one or two that we pick from there. But Howie has also made some crazy splashes as well. And you never know. So to me, I think the Eagles they set themselves up in a good position right now. I think they'll be just fine. And yeah, when you can afford to let 3 defensive guys go and still be set for the upcoming season, that's pretty good. So I want to see what's going to happen here during the draft. As Rick says, that Hassan Reddick with the Bucks is interesting. It is interesting, Rick, because I want to see if he's finally over his whole diva mentality and actually wants to play like he used to play before in the past. But no, I think the Eagles are going to be just fine, in my opinion. I just think how he knows what he wanted in the draft. Even if the Eagles didn't win the Super Bowl, he knows exactly what's needed on his team. And, I know he got his extension not too long ago, but I wouldn't be surprised if he gets another added bonus extension to what he already had.
All right, if we could scroll down, got a couple of things from Get Up earlier today. If we could scroll down to the first or the second one with Adam Schefter, breaking NFL free agency news. There's 2 of them, not the first one. I want to go down to the second one first. It's always fun to see Adam Schefter breaking NFL free agency news. It's happened just about an hour ago.
Oh, hold on a second. Hold on. Go ahead, talk. Hold on.
Okay.
This was my day yesterday, Greeny. This was the day yesterday. Laura would go Shefty and he'd be like, someone else take it.
Leave the camera on him because any moment now he'll be ready to go. I can tell you that the free agent frenzy is underway and that the world is waiting from a quarterback perspective, it seems, on Aaron Rodgers to make a decision. It is Rodgers and Wilson, and there are openings right now in a few different places.
Okay, great.
And I'm told Shefty is ready to go. Take it, Adam.
Javon Holland, the top safety on the market, is going to the New York Giants on an agreement. It just got done. Big deal for the Giants, landing a safety. So they go get Paulson Adebo yesterday from the New Orleans Saints, and they get Javon Holland today from the Miami Dolphins. 2 players in the secondary. This is Josh Allen. We're talking Josh Allen here. How come we're talking Josh Allen? Why? I got it. Javon Holland gets the deal done with the Giants. And let's go to the other deal. Jonathan Allen, the 2-time Pro Bowl defensive tackle for the Washington Commanders, is signing a big deal with the Minnesota Vikings this morning. Was visiting with the Vikings yesterday, has agreed to a 3-year, $60 million deal. So we have Jonathan Allen going to the Minnesota Vikings, Javon Holland going to the New York Giants, and Tuesday morning is off and running, Greeny.
Great pickup for the Vikings. Great pickup for them. Outstanding. All right, let's go one up there, Angel, too, as well. And somehow Aaron Rodgers got brought up with the Minnesota Vikings, which I'm sure will make all my Minnesota fans and neighbors want to puke on the spot. That ain't happening. But Orlovsky talked about it this morning.
Yep.
That would be a mistake by the Minnesota Vikings.
Yes.
Minnesota, you've made the determination, the decision to allow Sam Darnold to go. You've now declared, listen, this is more than likely J.J. McCarthy's football team, and we want it to be J.J. McCarthy's football team. Aaron comes with a lot. Whether people like it or not, it's a lot. Do not bring that into your building. Do not bring that into your football team. You're handing the keys over to a young player and saying, this is going to be your opportunity. Lead us forward. And bringing Aaron Rodgers in is going to hinder that in some capacity, stunt that in some capacity. That would be a mistake by the Minnesota Vikings.
Yes, it would.
Minnesota, you've...
Yep. Sure would.
By the way, a little bit of breaking baseball news from my buddy Sean McAdam. Rafael Devers, who was thought to be making his spring debut either today or tomorrow, Sean says will happen on Saturday. And with that, we say a very good morning to Bill Burt from the Eagle Tribune. Good morning, Billy. How are you? Where are you? Home? You're at the state? I forget.
I'm home. No,
okay.
I'm at the home office here in North Andover.
Nice.
I'm back to being a little chilly. I was in your weather about a week
sorry.
ago.
I can't believe we missed each other. As our schedules just, and I was on vacation last week too, but our schedules didn't quite. It just was hectic.
Yeah, so I had a busy week down there. Look, I'm doing a little Red Sox, a little Patriots here all at once, and it was Red Sox last week. I got some great stuff. We got a big special section coming. I got a great one-on-one with Cora. And I got not to go on the Red Sox a little bit, but I equate the Bregman signing to what happened to New England yesterday in the last 2 days. So it's very similar, very exciting. Obviously we went through this 4 years ago with the Patriots when Bill Belichick went crazy on the first day, first 2 days, very similar of free agency.
That's the year he won Executive of the Year, by the way. Even though people complained and some of the picks didn't work out overall, but that year they did, and he won Executive of the Year. Where people forget that.
Mm-hmm. Look,
before we get to Patriots, Billy, before we get to Patriots, I just got a couple of Red Sox things I want to see if you have heard. You saw the story about what happened yesterday with Jim Rice. I know you're not that, but did you hear what happened?
Pete, I wrote a story last week talking to Jim Rice, and my story sort of elaborated on so Pete.
Just to reiterate to people down here, apparently yesterday, a Red Sox staffer in Fort Myers, after a player asked for his advice to Rice, the staffer, whoever that is, I'm going to see if you know, then told him, quote, his advice didn't align with the team's approach, unquote. And then he replied, look at the monitor, do what you do, and don't talk to me. What numbnut said that? Do you know? Any idea?
No,
I want it out.
I don't know. So I talked to Jim Rice for about a half hour, and my column was that guys like Rice, if you remember, Pete, we grew up with Ted Williams, Carl Yastrzemski,
I brought that Jim Rice,
Dwight Evans, guys on the field wearing a uniform and going to the batting cages. Louis Tiant going to the pitcher's mound, and those days are over, Pete. It's sad, and Jim Rice basically elaborated on it. Said, he's a Hall of Famer, no big deal, doesn't matter. But what he did and the way he got to where he was also a hitting coach, by the way. He was a hitting coach with the Red Sox. So this is not like a guy that
absolutely
that didn't
a Hall of Famer, for God's sakes. I mean,
he didn't only have a Hall of Fame career; he also taught the game, and he's basically, because what I said to him, Jim, what about these, hitting coaches? Because I wouldn't know this hitting coach, if a hitting coach for the Red Sox, if he walked into me. And it's what got me was these legends. Because one of my favorite parts about going to camp is you get down there, you see the guys, you see the young guys, you talk to them. Access is phenomenal. I'm Red Sox A+ with access.
Never used to be that way either. It never, when Duquette was there, was never like that. That's one thing. That changed to 180 after he left. Not that he didn't put together some good rosters and some of the ones that enabled them to win the World Series. Duquette had a lot to do with it. But let's face it, he was an asshole to deal with. Professionally, not personally.
These guys don't hang around the cages anymore because they're not, quote unquote, welcome. And And it's sort of sad because Jim Rice is just walking around, getting a little sweat. He was wearing his Red Sox garb, but it just struck me. And after talking to him, he basically said, "Yeah, I don't say anything, and nobody says anything to me, and I take mental notes." He goes, "Look, my TV broadcast with Tom Caron. Karen's got all the stats. I talk about what I see." And then he did talk about hitting with me, about his style and what he teaches, and he talked about cutting a tree down. And he asked me, "Get up and show me how you cut a tree down." So I get up, I look like this goofy 63-year-old, and I take the axe and I cut the middle of the tree. He goes, "What the hell are you doing? That's wrong. You cut down." And his point was, that's the swing. It's a different game now, and this game has been taken over by analytics, and the old timers just don't have a place in the sport like they used to. Right or wrong, we can say it's wrong. I believe it's wrong, but it's a different game. And guys that are making decisions, I think the biggest issue is they're not the guys that played. They were not in a box. And that's what Jim Rice talked about. He said, it's great. All these guys got laptops and iPads. He says, but guess what? When you get in the box, you can't take an iPad with you. You're there with knowledge, and you got to make adjustments. And he goes, we're not teaching players today to make the adjustments that we made, that I had to make in the box. And that was really the saddest part. But guys like Jim Rice, they just don't, because I used to like getting stories. I talked to Jim about 75, talk about 78, and talk about players, and you just don't get that anymore.
Real quick, I'm going to get right back to the Red Sox in a second, but I do have more breaking NFL news, and this kind of affects the Patriots in a little bit. The Minnesota Vikings have now signed offensive lineman guard Will Fries, 5 years, $88 million. Adam Schefter just had it. So right now, Will Fries, 5 year, $88 million. Jonathan Allen, 3 years, $60 million. Ryan Kelly, 2 years, $18 million. So their offensive, defensive lines seem to be well intact. And I'm wondering, just real quick, we'll get to Will Fries in a second. I want to finish up the baseball conversation, but I just want to know what staffer would have the balls to say that to Jim Rice. And obviously a player, maybe a younger player, maybe it was Bregman, I don't know, that came up to him and said, "Hey, how would you, and the answer you get told is don't ask him anything. His philosophy doesn't fit with ours." That's ridiculous.
Yeah, it's, again, this is what with Jim Rice, a Hall of Famer, the way he played the game, is different than what they're selling and teaching players now. And for me, I just think they talk about the balance of analytics and baseball, the old school. There's no balance right now. It's all analytics. And for me, I'll go back to, I was talking to Louis Tiant. This is 4 years ago.
Yeah.
He was sitting on a golf cart and he was ticked. This is right during COVID. Literally, COVID had just started. And he said, I'm watching pitchers and they're worried about how fast they're throwing it. He goes, that's not pitching. And he said it, of course, in his accent. If Mikey Adams was here, he'd be imitating.
And I remember him because we had him in studio when I was at ESPN Southwest Florida. And, of course, Dan is a dear friend. Dan is a great son. We still keep in contact. He's a great guy. He used to be here in Southwest Florida. He's an agent. He was moved up north a little bit. But, he brought Louis into the studio. We talked all about that stuff. And this was like 5 years ago. Same thing. Brought up all the same stuff. And Dick Raditz, God rest his soul, used to bring the same thing. I mean, the analytics have ruined pitchers. I mean, Louis threw 154 pitches in the World Series.
Look, Garrett Cole just had Tommy John. I don't understand how you get. I understand it, but I'm just saying it's the beginning of camp, and why does someone's elbow hurt now? Aren't we building up? Isn't that what we're teaching these pitchers? You build up over time, and you're not supposed to. This isn't supposed to happen in March, early March or February, where you're getting elbow trouble. You sit people down, you rest them, you identify. I know maybe this is a lingering issue from a year ago, but
probably. But I know I'm with you. All right, so So Devers is also going to play Saturday, I guess. That's going to be
finally. But I mean, look, Lou Maloney talked about this. It's been a great camp. It really has been. There's a definite you can feel the aura.
Yeah.
Bregman has
Yeah.
changed everything. I'm couldn't be more impressed with
Yep.
anyone as I am him. But I don't think Devers is still, feeling his oats here and, slowly getting to a point where he's getting ready. And I don't know what he's waiting for. But I guess he's finally ready now. But it's been a very slow process. And, when you're the highest paid player or was the highest paid player on the team, you sort of feel your oats again, and you tell them when you're ready. And that's the game now, Pete. That's not.
Well, I was at Fenway I was at Fenway South down here about 10 days ago with my buddy and Big Mucky Muck in the luxury box, and I had Lou Merlone come down. I'd already had him on the show, but it was the day after, 2 days later, after Devers had taken his first batting practice. I said how he looked. He said he looked fantastic.
Yeah.
I said, I asked him about the third base situation. Is this going to be an issue and ongoing? And I don't think anybody has a definitive answer. He doesn't seem to think it's going to be, but I'm not so sure. My gut feeling tells me that there's going to be trouble with this, at least initially. And whether Alex Cora succumbs to Devers' wishes and puts him at third base, despite him being awful, instead of Bregman. And depending on if Campbell, continues to progress, and you saw him last week too. I don't know. Is he ready to start at second base?
Yes, I think he could. Yeah, he could easily.
Yeah.
Back on the Devers thing, Pete, we grew up with Wade Boggs. Wade Boggs was a machine as a hitter in the minor leagues. I mean, he worked his way to become a great major. And then
he stayed in the minors 2 years too long.
Right, but he struggled defensively his first couple of years, but guess what? By the middle of his career, he was one of the best third basemen in the game. And we haven't really seen that out of Devers, where Devers hasn't really taken that step. I'm not saying he doesn't work hard. I've been down in the camp. You've seen him take grounders at third. I don't know what guys do on their own time or whatnot to prepare. I don't know what he was doing in January and February, if he was in the Dominican Republic getting ready. But the reason why Bregman was brought in is because we know what we're getting with him. He's a Gold Glove third baseman from the Astros last year.
Yeah.
But he could play second base. That's really not an issue because we also have Christian Campbell, who I don't think he's quote unquote ready. But on a team like the Red Sox, you can afford to have a rookie, whether it's Roman Anthony in right, whether it's Christian Campbell at second. You can afford to have one of those guys. My feeling is the three, Marcelo, Christian, and Roman, they're all probably going to start with probably in Worcester. And they don't. That's the great part about this team. They have depth for the first time in a long time. And by having Bregman, you have guys slotted in their right positions where they don't have to come in and be the star right away. They don't have to be a leader. They can take their time and be actually ready when they're ready. And a year ago, 2 years ago, if these three come into camp, two of them are probably starting opening day. That they don't need them right now. This team, and I'm going to give Craig Breslow credit, he's built a good team here. Now, Alex Cora's got to figure out the third base issue because I think that's still up there for discussion.
Before we get into, there's a couple of things before we get into the Patriots and the signings and all that stuff. Bill Burt from the Eagle Tribune joining us now. Your son Max is in the Yankees organization. How's that going for this year?
Well, still, he's, as we speak, a free agent, but we think things are going to finalize here in the next couple of days. So, as I've said this before, pray for his father. Don't pray for him.
And he was in Double-A ball with the Yankees?
Double-A last couple of
years. More than once last year on the highlights.
Yes, he had a couple of plays. He had a ESPN Play of the Day. But look, it's a tough sport, and I am.
Can he end up in Boston? That's what people want to know. Could he end up?
Baseball guy at heart, and I love the game and the work that goes in behind the scenes. He was in. I think we talked about this already. He was in for about 5 weeks. Played for basically Cora's team in Caguas, in Puerto Rico, in the Winter League.
In the Winter League, yeah.
And that was a great experience. We went down there for Christmas, my wife and I, as Max, he's our only son. And so we spent Christmas as a family down there. But Max Bird, hopefully hearing some good news here in the next couple of days. Next time I'm on here, I'll probably have some better
news. Could he end up with the Red Sox in any way, shape, or form?
You're gonna have to talk to Craig Breslow about that one. I'm just a sports writer, and but I
Would he
know I'm a
like
dad
to end
first.
up with the Red Sox if he could? Or
Hey,
does he
Pete,
want to be on
Pete, no comment, Pete. I just I'm if whatever happens. But he's things are breaking here in the next couple days, hopefully.
I'm happy for him. Look, I remember knowing you when he was born. For God's sakes,
I
basically.
brought him in the studio a couple
brought
times
him
as a
in?
little 2 or 3 year old, and
Jesus Christmas! How old? And I also remember you almost led your team in North Andover to the Little League World Series game. That close.
It literally cost me my job at the Big Show because I was coaching that team and I had to run practices and I had to turn down shows on the Big Show, which is a no-no for a few of the big people there. One that lives in Arizona right now, and I. But that was one of the best
by the way.
experiences of my life. So long story short, we lost to Peabody in the sectional championship, 1-0. Peabody went to the World Series, and
they did pretty well, didn't they? If I remember, they won a couple games.
Yeah, no, they won a couple games. They made it to like the quarterfinals. That was a great team, and in fact, I covered, coincidentally,
you went out there.
Teammate of Alex Cora at the University of Miami was an Andover kid who moved to Florida. He had a walk-off grand slam in 1988, and I've told the story. I went down in 88, and I said, if I have a son someday, I'm bringing him to the World Series.
Wow.
My wife and my son and I went 5 years in a row from 7 to 11 years old down to Williamsport. Best vacation we took.
That's one on my bucket list. I have not been there. Driven
Pete,
past
go.
it. Driven
I'm
past
recommending anyone listen to this. Go down there for 3 or 4 days early on, and then you watch it on TV. You've seen the play. They walk around. The teams walk around. It's a great experience.
Awesome. Before we get into the Patriots, real quick, when Porzingis last night tweeted out 13 hours ago, I've been dealing with some viral illness that we haven't been able to fully identify yet. I'm recovering and getting better, but still working my way back to full strength to help this team. Thanks for the support, and I'm hoping for a healthy return soon. I got such a pit in my stomach. Do you know anything that's going on with him? Because athletes don't do that unless it's sort of serious. And I don't want to assume the worst or anything, but Jesus, that threw me for a loop last night when I was.
Yeah, I don't know exactly what's going on, Pete. I do know he's here for the stretch run, and they've been monitoring him all season long from before the season started. They want him available. Like, they don't play back-to-backs in the playoffs. It's every other day. Sometimes there's 2 days rest.
Sometimes it's 3.
Sometimes there is. So the guess is Porzingis will be back basically full-time within about 2 weeks. And by then, the Celtics are really starting. I mean, we got a lot of good things.
I mean, they're winning it. People, but unless they're the only team that can rest 3 starters and win back-to-back games, which they did last week by double digits. There's no other team that can do it. Lakers suck without LeBron. Saw it last night losing to that pathetic Brooklyn team. Luka yelling at the refs. Look, they are so deep. You can't beat them. You're not going to beat them in a 7-game series. They can play their 10th, 11th, and 12th guys for multiple minutes and still beat you. It's just an awesome thing to watch.
So, Pete, what we're seeing with the Celtics was, you got to remember, 3 of their players played in the Olympics. They went from the championship to the Olympics. They really got no time off. They got a month off before the season. And I think White struggled, and I think Drew Holiday, who, he's been battling a few minor injuries. Drew Holiday looks like the guy right now. And the guy is, when I say the guy, it's 8 to 10 points. It's 2 3-pointers. It's 4 assists. It's 3 rebounds. And it's
awesome defense. They got 3, arguably the 4 best defensive guards in the league on their team. Mm-hmm. With Derek White, with Drew Holiday. Jaylen Brown has emerged. I mean, unbelievable defense that you've seen, especially in the last, I'd say, 20 games. And little Pritchard, who he's unbelievable. Even in the Laker game, he only scores 3 points. They don't need him. They don't need him to score 41. It's just an amazing thing. Then the other night when they didn't have 3 starters, and then they didn't have Horford and Hauser, and they still won by double digits. I mean, that doesn't happen. Teams can't do that. That's how deep this team is.
Pete, you mentioned Horford. when you mention the Celtics, you got to talk Horford.
Oh,
Horford
huge.
basically has filled the role Porzingis plays in a different role. But look, his defense was amazing against the Lakers. You know, he basically he shut down LeBron in the first.
Cornette, Jalen Brown did a great. How about Cornette and Keita? I mean, I know Keita picks up a bunch of. Keita's unbelievable. I love Keita, and Cornette. I mean, you talk about Cornette's becoming one of my favorite players. I just love his hustle.
Probably the most well-liked guy on the team, Pete. I'm being honest too. He's funny. But he's producing. He's coming in, and it's like 10 minutes of solid bench play. So what's happening is they're going to their bench and they're not losing anything. So again, I'm not saying they're perfect per se, but the difference between last year and this year, I think, Pete, is I think the matchup with Cleveland is set. They're going to play Cleveland in the Eastern Conference Finals, and that's going to be a 6 or 7 game series.
I think it'll be 6. They don't have the depth. Cleveland does not have the depth to keep up with the Celtics. They just don't. They can win a couple games. They're not going to beat them in the series.
I think Cleveland does have depth. But I just don't know if they have the experience to beat a Celtics team that's probably going to be peaking. Like what I'm seeing now is I'm seeing the Celtics this year starting to turn into the team that ended the year a year ago. That's all. It's early. There's 4 teams, in my opinion, that are going to play in the final, in the Eastern Conference and the Western Conference Finals. I think it's OKC and Denver, if Denver's healthy, and I think it's the Celtics in Cleveland. And OKC's coming to Boston here
tomorrow night. I can't wait. So obviously, and I'm sure Tatum's going to be back tomorrow night. And if Porzingis isn't out, I still like the Celtics' chances a lot. I mean, it's going to be a hell of a game. Everybody's going to hype it up like they did the Laker game. We kicked the shit out of them. And I know they cut the 20-point lead down to 4 at one point, but it didn't feel like it. And you can tell. And I'm telling you right now, the Lakers they're going to fight to get in the top 6, because don't be surprised with LeBron out now because it's so close. It's so jammed up in the West. If they're playing in the 7-10 little tournament there to get in, that wouldn't shock me either.
Well, the Warriors are also, with
Butler there now and
with the changes they made. And look, they're a little bit scary, but OKC and Denver, in my opinion, you're not beating either one of those 2 teams. So the Lakers are decent. I'm not buying on the Lakers. I think they're in the Western Conference is sort of it's like a strong upper middle league of the conference. Celtics, Cleveland, Denver, OKC. Wouldn't be surprised if Denver beats OKC, but we'll see. I'm excited about the Celtics OKC here on Wednesday night.
I am too. I've watched every game this year. It's great. And it was great about having the NBA package down here is I usually listen to the opposing announcers for one quarter or at least half a quarter. I did for the Utah Jazz last night. I forget who was doing. It sounded like they were broadcasting molasses. I know when your team sucks and you've only got 15 wins. It was so bad. It was so bad. Anyway, fine. Let's get into the Patriots a little bit here. I know everybody's Milt Williams is I think the best signing so far of anybody, or one of the top 2. Harold, Landry, Spillane, Carlton Davis when he's healthy, and getting Mac Hollins at wide receiver. I think it's a pros pro. Number 4 or 5 receiver, very good on special teams. Caught a great touchdown pass last year for Buffalo in the AFC Championship game. But overall, I'm very happy about what they have done thus far. I know there's more.
Look at Pete. The offensive and defensive lines, both weak. And look, I think the 2 biggest winners after this free agent signings is going to be Barmore and. Barmore and Keon White. These guys now are slotted where they belong. They were expected. I think people were hoping they were going to be stars. They're not stars, at least yet. And now with you had Milton Williams. That's a mentality.
3-down lineman that can rush and run block both equally well. He's a 3-down lineman. I think it's awesome.
Right, and that's what they needed. They need 3-down guy, the 3-down guy, and he's a winner, as we saw. And this is that was I go back to when 2001 when the Patriots won the Super Bowl. I think the 2 keys of that young crazy year.
I guess you're going to say One is
Excuse me?
Can I guess what you're going to say? One is going to be Brian Cox.
Well, that kind of thing. It's no, but I'll say it again. It's the key was Seymour and Matt Light. You got a 11-year left tackle. You had a guy that played 12 years, was a disruptor like no other. But then you had Mike Vrabel they signed, and Mike Vrabel was a steal. So and they stole him. They got him for
They did.
above the minimum, and that's what we got to see here. It's not only the Milton Williams, but what about Chris Tonga? Can Tonga play? Because they signed Tonga to a 1-year deal. I think they like him as a guy that's going to disrupt. And so it's not just the big signings; it's the secondary signings as well. I don't want to call Carlton Davis a secondary signing, but you now have 2 cornerbacks.
Yeah,
You have
when he's healthy, and him and Gonzalez out there, I think that's, as long as he stays healthy, pretty significant.
You got an elite corner and a potential elite corner. And look, he's building the team. This is a tough team, and the Patriots are getting back to and if you ask me, you go back to especially the Dynasty Part 1. That was one of the 2004 team was the toughest and best team I've ever seen, the Patriots, of all the great teams. 2001, it was sort of an amazing run. 2003, really good run. Then they go out, they go out and they sign the free agent running back, Corey Dillon.
Yep.
There's just, this team is taking on potentially, it's early, and this is a team that won 4 games. So we're not going to, I don't want to go over the top here, but, they still need a wide receiver or 2, but that can be had here. And I just think they're building to being a team in Mike Vrabel's likeness, and which means tough as hell and very energetic. And again, it's early, Pete. We got all excited 4 years ago with those signings. I think, I'm going to be honest, this is better, but it should be better because they spent a lot more money.
Just going to get a couple more guys on offense. Not necessarily. It's the stud wide receivers. It ain't going to happen. I was hoping that Godwin would come. They offered $20 million more than the Bucs, but I respect Chris for staying with Tampa Bay. Good for him. He's one of the few where it's not always about the money. But you can't damn the Patriots for trying hard, because from what I understand, they offered $20 million more, and he just wanted to stay in Tampa.
Yeah, the T. Higgins is still out there. It's a possibility. I don't know. I just can't see Cincinnati keeping everybody there, paying that much money to that position. I know they signed him with the franchise tag. Look, they need a left tackle, and they need a number 1 wide receiver. So that's the need right now. You can get the left tackle. He's there. He's going to be there at 4. You can also get the pass rusher, Carter, from the outside edge rusher. Then you're talking a team based on.
What about A.J. Brown? What about stealing A.J. Brown?
That might be the other, Pete. That might be the other guy. And you know what? In fact, if you ask me, that's probably a better option than T. Higgins. Than T. Higgins. I think that's probably a more realistic option. So very early, a lot of people got upset with the Red Sox early on. A lot of people have been upset with the Patriots not spending money, but Mike Vrabel has a plan, and you can see it. And it's toughness on both sides of the line of scrimmage. Line of scrimmage has been abysmal here for 2 years, Pete.
Yep.
And head coaching.
I know.
Head coaching. As you know, Pete, I came on here before, and I had to deal with your 20-minute rants about Mayo.
Gerard Mayo.
But I did enjoy them, and it's different now. There's definitely some semblance of direction. That's really what this team hasn't had here. There's direction. And, listen, Bob Kraft learned the hard way. Bill Belichick learned this too, to a fault. I think both Belichick and Kraft thought they could do it their way without Tom Brady. You can't. And Belichick, I think, finally realized that at the end. Kraft realizes this now. We got to pay money. We got to pay for this. Tom Brady allowed you. Remember, Milt Williams makes more money than Tom Brady ever made. He'll make more money this year than Tom Brady ever made. So, but you got to spend money. like every other team has to do to win. And they're headed in the right direction. It's early. There's still two big needs, but I am all in right now with what they've done.
Billy, you're the best. Thanks so much. Now, you headed back down this way at all before the end of spring training, or
I'm going to be down probably the last week of March, second to last week of March.
Good. Well,
If
my
I
birthday's,
am,
on, my
we will
birthday's on the
definitely get together in
26th.
Bonita
My
Springs.
birthday's on the 26th, so I'll see you.
Okay. Oh, fun.
But that's great. Yeah. So enjoy. Any press conferences coming up with the Patriots with all the signings, or is that?
We're waiting for that. Right, waiting to hear on that now. Yes, we're expecting something to happen next day or two.
All right, Billy. Thanks so much, Bill Burt from the Eagle Tribune. You're the best. Thank you, and we'll talk and see you soon.
Thanks, Pete. Take care.
All right, buddy. All right, and that is going to do it. Angel Martinez, great job today holding down the fort. How you feeling? You good?
See, sun is out, blue
Sun is
skies.
beautiful.
It is terrific outside.
There's a 10. I'm going to go pick up some medication, come back and walk the dog, and off to see Jerry Thornton. That's my day.
Nice.
Thanks to Bill Burt. Thanks to Jay Flannelly. Tomorrow, Bill Sparrows, I believe, will join us. He's headed down this way, too, over the weekend. And a couple of other guests coming up, Angel, that I will let you know as soon as they confirm with me, and I will send you the list in just a little bit, or sometime this afternoon. You know the drill. All right, everybody, have a great and safe rest of your Tuesday. I am Pete. I am back tomorrow at 7 a.m. See ya.